And that's when my master plan will come to fruition, as
What
every last feminist is killed.
what plan? Your plan to be 42 minutes late?
Hey, I had to eat supper because I would be there for
I
7
just want
hours.
everybody to know I was completely on time and ready to go, unlike somebody.
I had to eat supper. I ain't, I
Eating.
ain't such a
What,
jerk
what, what, a,
today.
what a terrible excuse. You had to eat. It's not like you need that to live or anything.
Well, it took a while to cook. Cause, so we're going to talk about the new season of anime.
I thought we were just going to talk about Goblin Slayer for like 2 hours because I haven't stopped talking about it since that episode.
God, if I have to hear about Goblin Slayer one more fucking time, yes, they rape. What do you expect? No, it's not a metaphor for capitalism. It's a metaphor for unvetted immigration.
Either way,
If you look at it from the Japanese perspective, they don't like outsiders. It's probably a metaphor for immigrants.
I'm sure it'll be something we get back to at some point, unless you just straight up want to go into it now.
Might as well because I'm tired of hearing about it. Got a bunch of pay arguments
Oh,
on
I dropped my mic.
Report server yesterday
Woo!
because people just don't understand that this edgy shit, like Berserk and all that, that is not the pinnacle of anime. It's just like it's just one of many genres. It just irritates me when people think, "Oh, anime's finally back to the way it was." You mean being violence porn? What the fuck are you talking about? The moe shit has always existed. The waifu bait has always existed. Shut up. You know
Well,
nothing.
the thing that, because I mean, before even starting to talk about Goblin Slayer and obviously what we saw in the first episode, the idea that a lot of people are like, "Oh man, it's going back to the way things used to be." It's like I don't think people understand that the only reason that we got the shows that we got back in the 80s and 90s is because that's all they localized.
Yeah, that's what.
The shit that was in Japan, like in the same time, it was about the same percentage as it is today. It's no different.
Well, wasn't like Lupin the Third and Shin-Chan prevalent at the same time as Berserk?
Well, and yeah, and obviously, just some stuff didn't come over here in the 80s and 90s. Obviously, now with Crunchyroll and all these other services, everything is pretty much making its way over, or you just download it and somebody will put subtitles on it. So, I mean, you have access to almost everything now. It's not that all of a sudden just all this moe and yaoi and all this other stuff just came up. No, it's always been there. It's just now you have even more access to it. So you think that it's suddenly more prevalent, but no.
No, it's always been there. Like, if you look back at Macross, that was pretty much early waifu bait.
I mean, realistically speaking, what anime was here in the West back in the 80s and 90s was a test. Being they figured, okay, let's do this for the gritty young adults that are like the teenagers because they figured anime is a weird fucking media if you're a first timer, so they didn't want to just throw that to kids right away.
No, you don't want to just introduce them to like the really weird shit. You have to ease them
You don't.
into it.
You don't throw them into Fooly Cooly right off the bat.
No. You don't throw them into the incest anime. You don't throw them in Monogatari when they're not ready.
Well, to be fair, some of these shows you'll never be ready for. So
you don't throw them in a bunch of kinds of like a lion when they're not ready.
well, yeah, but that's any show that's going to make me either like want to kill myself or just gets extremely depressed. I'm never ready for that. I wasn't ready for Anohana, but I got suckered in before I had the chance to turn away.
Have I ever told you about the King's Raid meme I saw on King's Raid subreddit? They took like characters from the game that looked similar to characters from Anohana and so said, "Why is Jane where the dead girl was? Menma, was that her name?
Yeah.
Why is Jane Oh, fuck you!" because in King's Raid, Jane is a princess who died a long time ago. Like the story was that 100 years ago there was a kingdom named Grey, and she was the princess, and someone betrayed them, and some demon king that's basically like Ainz basically resurrected her as a zombie girl.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you what she looks like later, but God. This stuff with Goblin Slayer is just like these people don't understand. Like, my beef with Micah Curtis from YouTube. He's like, because he goes on this tirade like several months back, bitching about how like modern anime protagonists aren't like muscular anymore. Like, in what world does JoJo look normal for a 16-year-old Japanese boy? I don't give a shit if he's a delinquent. No Japanese boy looks ripped like Brock Lesnar.
I was gonna say, have we not seen like the average person in Japanese looks so thin and frail? I mean, obviously, it works really well if you're attracted to Japanese people because I mean they always look healthy. So
Yeah, but it just seems kind of
I,
weird when you have these hyper muscular Japanese guys. Like, no one in Japan looks that way.
it's almost like it's fiction, and it's really up to the creator what the character looks like.
Yeah, but then he gets it all twisted and thinking that back then he were badass. Like, what the fuck did you just say? In Index, Toma basically loses his memory, doesn't know who he is. He gets his arm blown off, and a fucking dragon comes out of it. And later, not just one dragon, several dragons.
You know what? That sounds realistic to me.
That's just more. For me, badass is more about their principles and what they stand for. And contrary to, here's a rich irony. Micah goes on a bitch fit about how men are portrayed well in media, and he talks about Goku being a great example of man. Goku is the blackest dad in anime.
He's also like the dumbest person.
Don't get me fucking started.
There's
time Goku's
like,
in a pot.
Like when Team 4-Star makes does their jokes with Goku being like, one was one of my favorite lines is like, I'm not the sharpest knife in the crayon box.
I know.
It's kind of it sounds like it's tongue in cheek, but no, it's Goku's really that dumb.
Well, here's
he literally just knows two things. He wants to eat and train, and he knows three things. He wants to eat and train and fight. That's all he wants to do.
Yeah, that's a thing that drives me crazy about Goku. This guy wants to kill you and everyone you care about. And you're gonna heal him up because you want to fight him at his best. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. But I'm just so happy that at least from the reaction that I got, because I wrote a really long article on the episode of Goblin Slayer, and I'm glad that so far either my fan base that I have isn't crazy or I'm in the right, and I'm hoping it's the latter. Well, actually, I hope it's both now that I think about it. So far, all the reaction has been the same, is that all of us kind of had the consensus of agreement that we have no problem with the actual show itself. There's no problem that we have with the scene. The issue that I really take is the fact that you're not given a chance to
prepare
for it. There's no warning. There's no 3 episodes of you getting attached to any characters. It's just literally 8 minutes in and it's already gone extremely downhill. There's nothing to it. You're basically just watching innocent people get mercilessly slaughtered.
I know.
And then Crunchyroll, of course, in their infinite wisdom, decided they're not going to put any sort of rating on that, especially something as brutal as that. That needed a rating.
Well, it's also an interesting dichotomy when you compare it to Slime Tensei or Tensei Slime.
Yeah.
Where he meets the goblins and they're just harmless monsters that just want to live peacefully. And then, well, it's not anime yet, but Remonster, where basically the main character died in a world where they had espers and shit like that, and he got reincarnated as a goblin, and he learns that his mother was a raped human, and he basically slips them some poison so they can just commit suicide, because he felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
And then they catch more human women, and they're going to do the same, and he manipulates things so that shit doesn't happen because being a human, he knows it's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, a human soul in a goblin body. But he doesn't stay a goblin, he eventually becomes an ogre. But I read the manga of Goblin Slayer, and after reading that, I was like, I am not watching that. I just can't deal with it.
And I think the longer that this has gone on, I did myself a disservice and actually rewatched the scene in full to see how it actually ends. It doesn't actually really do anything beyond what, when I clicked off, it was only maybe another 5 seconds, and it pretty much cuts away at that point.
To set things up for the priestess to understand this is not a good world.
Yeah.
She's one of the main characters. The rest of her party was not.
Traditionally, you usually try to at least trick the viewer into thinking that it's an okay world right away. because like I said in the article, I said there's so many issues that Crunchyroll did on their part. Because I don't even really blame the creators of the show for any of this, because they can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll decided not only, and this is, and I brought this up to them over Twitter. I don't think anybody's going to pay attention to it because
Miles is going to ignore it. You know about the whole history about Miles.
Yeah.
The worst PR person for Crunchyroll.
But like I brought up, obviously the major thing that how do you have the shows that have the explicit adult content that you have, and the only gate is a parental control gate.
Well,
like I understand. Sorry, go ahead.
Don't they censor a lot like that really hard, etchy, and like?
Well, yeah, but that's different from like there's no like heads up warning, like hey, this contains this. Like
that's where they need to have like they need to have some kind of age restriction that prevents people from watching certain content.
Well, like there's two great examples. Obviously, Goblin Slayer being one, but the other one is not one that people know very often. It's called Okusama ga Seto Kaicho, or My Wife is a Student Council President.
Well, no, something.
And that one actually has two versions. It has a censored and an uncensored version, and they actually label that, which is the closest I've ever seen Crunchyroll get to actually giving you a heads up.
You want to know something funny about that series, Okusama, whatever?
Other than the fact that it's one of my favorites?
Well, it actually began as a hentai manga that...
I'm not surprised given the content.
Yeah, then they did like a hard, ecchi manga. Because in the original, they have all these other girls. But
wait, there's more than like the 25 that he's gone after at this point?
I don't remember. I couldn't stay with that show because I just got bored with it. But I'm going to send you a link to a video that Mim Headroom did on Goblin Slayer.
Okay.
We can watch it later.
But yeah, no, like shows like that, like, and when I said there needs to be a pop-up like window that says, hey, you're about to watch something that contains extreme graphic violence and like I don't know if it would straight up say, hey, this program contains rape, but at the very least there needs to be like, this contains brutal violence and sexual violence or something. I don't know what you specifically put, but you need to make it clear that this is not the norm for the stuff that we normally watch. Because I've spent 4 years on that service now watching stuff every season that I've never read into, that I did no research on. Because this is the other part that was bugging me. People were like, why didn't you look into this? Why aren't you guys reading the manga before that? I said, okay, you know,
not everyone reads manga.
Gatekeeping aside with the manga bullshit, because again, I'm tired of people acting like you need to be able to read manga to count as an anime fan. Go fuck yourself. But the idea that apparently everybody has to do suddenly an hour of research into every show they watch before they watch it. This isn't like video games where you're making an $80 purchase where you should do a little bit of looking into it. No, this is literally like you're paying $8 a month for the service and you're just randomly checking stuff out.
Well, like, this isn't too much from people that are still using Flashword or video player.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's the thing about Crunchyroll. They got a bunch of normies that don't know shit about anime working for them. That's where you got all these mistakes going on with them.
I will admit the hilarity that people like keep yelling, but like, oh my god, the service is so bad, and I'm sitting here being like, I'm on PlayStation 4. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know. I've heard things about the PC, the web browser versions of it, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I'm still sticking to this on console because it's working completely fine for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take a quick aside about the manga thing, because you've heard my many, many, many rants about Naruto, and how, because I pointed out in the past that there were no hints that Hinata was the love interest. She was one-sided love interest at best. And people were like, well, you weren't paying attention. And I'm like, motherfucker, I read the fucking manga. She's in there like once every 550 chapters at best. Maybe once every 100. She was an afterthought. This was an ending that the Studio Perot, of course, because they like to milk everything. They're the ones that put fillers in their fillers. And they forced this ending so they could make a sequel that no one wanted. I won't watch Boruto because Boruto is more obnoxious than his father was.
And yeah, if I wanted to not watch an obnoxious shonen anime, I'd just go back to Black Clover.
Ugh.
Speaking of shonen that I'm actually okay with, I'm surprised the first episode of Radiant didn't piss me off.
Radiant?
because I got the feeling it was going to be very much like any other shonen, and I watched it. I'm like, actually, you know what? It has charm to it. It actually is funny, unlike most shonen anime where it's just guys screaming.
Yeah, I might. I don't know if I'll pick it up because I see the studio that does Lurch, and they're the ones that fucked up Classroom of the Elite by putting Horikita in every scene when she wasn't in them in the novel.
I don't know. I'm not a track record guy. Unless you like,
And
the only exception is like if you have a good track record, I'm guaranteed to watch it. It takes somebody to really fuck up for me to even be on the radar studio wise.
well, like Trigger, they're doing Gridman.
See, everybody keeps telling me to watch Gridman. I keep telling them I have never liked a mech anime. I don't care anymore. I'm not trying
Well, it's
anymore.
more like sort of like a Super Sentai, like Ultraman.
Yeah. Well, it's still the same way though. Like everybody kept like Darling in the Franxx is above just being a mech thing. I'm like, I don't care.
Don't speak of Darling in the Franxx. I had to quit that like I'm gonna check my drop list because I dropped it at like 4 episodes.
See, I'm just looking through the anime that this studio Lerch has made, and I'm like, no, I'm okay with these guys. They made Monster Musume. They're currently making Zombieland Saga, which I
Yeah.
love the first episode of.
Yeah, but
Suru was pretty good.
complaint is like how they handled Classroom of the Elite because they took one of the episodes they did. They took like a scene that was like from a later volume of the novels that didn't belong there, and they stuck Horikita in a scene, and when this other girl did something in that scene. Let me see. Yeah, I dropped Darling in the Franxx at 4 episodes.
I don't have any attachment to whatever you're talking about, so I couldn't tell you.
Well,
Also, I guess it's easier for me to not really have that level of care to things, considering I don't ever read the original source material. So
I haven't gotten.
I guess that helps with me.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to read, but I did read like a later volume, and basically it comes out because they're trying to force her into these things to try and set her up as the love interest. The author of this, who he does like Aerogut and shit like that, like visual novels,
Yeah.
and he doesn't really write the obvious love interest. He does like the one you don't expect, and that's kind of the reason why people were upset about the other girl being shafted because she's actually the love interest.
See, I just hear you say the one you wouldn't expect, and I'm in my brain just thinking, so the one I actually like.
Yeah, because people really liked Karuizawa K because she was kind of a complicated character. But that's one of those things I really hate when, like, you're reading like something or not reading, but enjoying a series that's like a harem or something like that, and they just go with the obvious like first girl bullshit.
Oh yeah.
That's
well,
one thing.
Scratch the bingo card.
Well, yeah. Maybe I should just throw on the raise a thought while I'm at it.
Jesus Christ. See, I think at that point you make the bingo card invalidate if you intentionally try to do it now.
I know. Someone I saw on Twitter was posted like high school today. I just threw it out there. Raise a thought.
What's that? What's that? Ray's hot? Yeah, sure.
Raise a thought.
Ray's hot? That's what I heard.
Don't you dare.
It's high school to death. They're all hot. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
It's just clearly one's getting put to the back burner because she's a crazy bitch.
You mean Ray?
I literally had that thought in my brain. I'm like, wait. They kind of all are in their own way. It just depends on what kind of crazy you're talking.
Zaya is the best girl because she's got the fang. Everyone knows the fang is the best thing about a girl.
Well, she also wears stripes, so she gets my vote off the bat right there.
Yep.
But because I'm always good at going off our tangents and back to the subject material.
Back to our topic at hand. Seasonal anime. And
the thing that just bothered me with Goblin Slayer is that people are acting like, it's the if you don't like it, don't watch it. And I explained this to somebody on Twitter. It's like, don't you understand that now that people have seen it, of course they're not going to watch it? Like, that's what a retarded thing that is to say. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, it's already too fucking late at that point. They all watched it. That's why we're bitching about it.
Yeah. It's kind of like how I watched, I don't remember what episode, Psychopaths. I was on Wi-Fi. I said, nope, not watching this anymore. Because it's like, after the psycho lesbian artist arc, basically she's kill all of her classmates and turn them into sculptures, where she just cut apart their bodies and put them on display. Like, And then
Yeah,
the
I
next
would not be
the
into
next
that.
crazy killer like killed, blew her brains out, turned all of her bones into pipes. Like, okay, this is just too much edge for me. Like, that's why I can't stand. That's that. I want to see how edgy I can be. That's why I had no interest in like Berserk, because if you look at the summary of the story, like Guts was born from the gallows as his mother was hung. Like,
Well, it's just the idea that like a show like Goblin Slayer comes off like it has to be just violent for the sake of being violent. I don't feel like what I watched was interesting in any aspect. Like when I saw what I saw, I didn't see a interesting story. I didn't see characters that I would be interested in. I saw people that were just either dying or killing, and I don't know what kind of substance that show has, which is why the
that
people
is
that are out there being
obvious.
like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen." I'm sitting there being like, "Have you ever watched like anime before? Because if this is all you like, I don't know what you're watching."
I know.
And it,
I just can't respect those type of people that say they like anime and all the stuff they list is like the edgy shit. Like, God, and they want to criticize me because I like stuff like Sweetness and Lightning. That stuff
well,
has more impact on me because when you get to that scene where Sumugi comes to the conclusion that the reason why her mommy's not back is because mommy is dead,
yeah.
it will rip your heart out.
Well, and the only thing that I've never understood in any industry, whether it's gaming, whether it's anime, whether it's film, whether it's whatever, are people that pinch and hold themselves to one genre. I cannot understand how you can enjoy one thing and only one thing and never have any instinct to want to just give something else a peek.
I don't know, that's shit that gets on my nerves.
And I mean, just I think what really took me, like, as much as I was just really disturbed by watching what I saw in the first episode, what really just pissed me off and sent me over the edge was to watch the reaction for it, because obviously I talked about it on Twitter, and just for the sake of curiosity, I clicked the hashtag just to see what people were saying. And what I saw was people either going a little too far and crying about it, because I wasn't ever crying about it. I was sitting there being like, dude, like this needed to be like
A
something that people
warning.
were told about, because like you can't just throw that at a random audience in your first episode. Like you can't
No,
introduce a show with that.
no, because like psychopaths, they lure you into this stuff, but basically it's really fucked up from the beginning. Like they live in an Orwellian society. If you're not happy enough, they're going to kill you.
Like someone tried to tell me that Drifters did they had a rape thing in there, and it started off pretty violent at the start. I'm like, okay, well, two things. One, the rape thing doesn't happen till like 2/3 the way into the show, as far as I remember. And two, anybody who knew even just a little bit about Drifters knew that this was a Helsing created project, and they knew that it was going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, the violence that you see in a show like Drifters isn't so much brutal as it's so ridiculously over the top that it actually comes off more funny than it does like brutal. I've never watched Helsing Ultimate or watched Drifters and ever been horrified by what I saw. Because
Yeah.
I don't think the kind of violence that you see in those shows, as much as there is so much more blood, it's so over exaggerated that you can't help but understand, oh, yeah, this isn't real. But a show like Goblin Slayer, or the more recent example that I could pull out of a show similar to that was Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Those are shows where they are realistically brutally violent. That actually disturbs you because that looks potentially possible.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing. Like, it's not the edge; it's how you use the edge. Like, I can't like Attack on Titan because they overuse the edge. Oh, get emotionally attached to this character. Oh, they're dead. Get attached to this one. Oh, they're dead.
Well, that's the other thing too, is if you're killing people off just for the sake of killing off attachments. It's why I could never understand watching shows like what you see with Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, because why would I ever devote my attention to characters that I know are going to die?
I know. Similarly, it's like I enjoy for Mars, and it's because they got to the point where they're like, okay, we can't keep killing people because they're going to be able to see that we're just going to mess with their heart. So they stopped killing people because they already got past that part. And it's about
Well,
telling a good
well,
story.
that's the thing. What's the thing, right? Like Grimgar only kills one person, and it really fucking means something when that person dies.
Yeah,
Whereas, obviously, in the case of Goblin Slayer, you've already seen two people for sure are dead. One that probably is after they're finished with her. So there's three that have been killed within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the show, and you've had zero attachment to these people. So your first instinct is to think, what the hell else am I going to expect? Like, why would I ever attach myself to anything in this show now?
I don't know. It's just
like it I don't want to go to this length, but it almost feels like the people that are trying to defend the show are almost more interested in watching violence porn than they are interested in watching any sort of other like show. It sounds like they're more just interested in just seeing limbs torn. And if that's all you're into, I mean, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, but I'm just going to say you can't expect me to understand why that's all you're interested in watching.
While we're talking about things that piss people off, let's just say that Dio could never be a Supreme Court justice, apparently, because he sexually assaulted a girl.
I
just wanted to...
I don't know what you're trying to segue here at this point. I'm lost.
Oh, because of a stupid Supreme Court decision that happened this week in America. Like,
well, I know the Kavanaugh stuff, yeah.
That's what I was getting at, because
unless is Dio that like meme thing that I don't know enough anime stuff about.
In the story JoJo.
Okay, that's why I don't know.
Basically, because what happened, because I read the manga, I was like, because I just can't want to read the manga just to see if I like.
Oh wait, is that the "It Was Me" Dio memes that I'm seeing?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, I see what.
Let me explain the meme to you. Basically, this one part of the story, Joseph Joestar, the original JoJo, he had this girl that he was liked, and well, Dio decided, I'm gonna force myself on her and kiss her, and then say, "You thought your first kiss was going to be Joseph? It was me, Dio."
Okay, like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's like a total jackass, and then Joseph beats the shit out of him for kissing his girlfriend.
As you do.
And so, what Dio does to get back at him is he takes JoJo's dog, puts it in a box, and has it burned alive.
Oh shit! Well,
that's why I couldn't get into JoJo's. Like,
so is
this guy?
So is JoJo after from that point on like become John Wick?
No, sadly not. And after that, Dio becomes a vampire, and it's like, but my issue with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like, how could no one see that this guy's just a lunatic that's going to become a serial killer or anything?
Yeah,
he's like some people are just it's a kind of evil where it's like mustache twirling, Skeletor. But I don't like to feel good, He-Man. I like to feel evil. That's the kind of stuff I hate. I like the more nuanced evil where they can be like the biggest son of a bitch in the world, but they also might have good intentions.
Well, I mean, I look no further than Black Panther's Killmonger is one of my favorite villains I've seen in the last little while, where it's like an evil that you're like, yeah, the guy's definitely not going to do good things, but I still like him a little bit.
Yeah. I also hate those kind of villains that after once grew up, they decided to purposely antagonize this person, not realizing that it's just a fluke that caused them to stop their one little step in their master plan for global domination. And this person's like, I kind of want to write like a hero that's like, would you just leave me the fuck alone? I don't care what you're doing. Just leave me alone. I keep ruining your plans because you won't leave me alone. Because at that point, the hero's not trying to stop them because they're good. They're just like, they just want to be left alone. Because you see it a lot. Like my mom used to watch Once Upon a Time, and like the first villain, she's like purposely antagonizing this one girl, like, and the girl at that point just starts fucking with this person out of spite. Because she just wanted to be left alone. That's what kind of villain I don't like. There's the ones that just won't leave people alone. Because it's kind of like a fluke that their plans have been hitting the fan.
Well, look, if you're a villain and you're in a fictional show, like you might get a couple of wins here and there, but there's always going to be something foiling you.
Yeah, but
just give up. Do the smart thing. Just teleport yourself back to high school and just go be in a harem and you'll be fine. Like just chill.
That's a Bridging Golden Eagle brought up. Is like that's one thing that's kind of annoying for me about anime. This life-threatening situation, is going to be stopped by someone that can't even pass their math finals.
Yeah.
Stop provoking fights with the high schoolers. Move your plan somewhere else, or they're not going to fuck up your plan, and they won't be able to stop you.
I mean, good lord, we could come up with a list of just stupid cliches that happen in these kinds of shows, like we discussed a couple weeks ago, where it was my whole thing with sports anime being like the person who is a rookie somehow beats the veteran of like 10 years.
Oh, yeah, like, but then you
It's
got
like,
the flip
see,
side of
but
it.
they love the sport more, so they win by that. It's like, that's not how it works.
And of course, the American cliche where all Americans like cheeseburgers and they have America everywhere in their room and they got blonde hair, blue eyes.
I know, isn't it wrong nowadays? Like most Americans now are too busy sitting at a Starbucks eating their vegan fucking brownies.
Fucking vegans and their bullshit.
But anyways,
let's talk about the seasonal anime before we get too angry, because
I'll just finish the Goblin Slayer thing before I forget about it by just saying, look, the show itself is fine. I don't really give a shit. It's just, for fuck's sakes, man, if you're gonna have a rape scene, fucking tell me. I just want to know.
Yeah, I would have told you.
Just so that way I can be, well, no, you guys told me, but my brain thought, okay, I've seen shows that like play with that idea, but I was not expecting like an actual, like full on right in front of my face one.
Yeah. Well, it's like I kind of allude to anime outsiders about, because someone said that Goblin Slayers are about capitalism and try to say that the goblins are capitalists or something like that. Like, I think it's more like about unvet immigration. And
Well, essentially, it seems like it's about racism almost.
I know, but my view on like the goblins is like they're almost like a metaphor from my perspective about like Muslims. You'd see a few and you're like, oh, they're not going to cause any problems. Next thing you know, they're culturally enriching your village and killing all the man, like what's happening in Europe.
Well, like, I obviously just looked at the link you sent me, and I don't like the title automatically where it just says brutal anime trigger snowflakes. It's like this is not a snowflake trigger, guys. I'm just gonna say it right now. No, the Goblin Slayer thing is not a snowflake thing, guys. This isn't a SJW issue. This is a people were put off by something that they were not given notice of.
Yeah,
anybody could have been disturbed by this. This is not an SJW or a left issue. Like, there are people obviously on the right that would have watched this and went, no, this is too much.
I know. It's why when I saw the goblins and
also, yeah, the other title he puts on the cover where it's like, goblins do what to women? Like, that's supposed to be shocking to people. It's not the goblins always do this in Japanese productions or whatever else. I don't give a shit. It's not the reason as to why. It's the fact that I saw it and no one told me it was there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I don't understand about like anime, because in the West we have our standard of orcs. We kind of created the orcs in the West. But why is it in anime that they're always pig men? I don't understand this.
It's weird. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I'm used to the idea of these green-skinned, tusked, barbarian type people, not pig men. Pig men that go around raping. I don't understand that.
But I mean, the biggest thing that I also mentioned in my article was that, hey, like when you turn on, when you like, say you log into Hentai Haven and you go in searching for stuff, you kind of have to understand that there's a pretty good percentage chance that you're going to end up encountering a rape at some point in one of these things. But you're also like anticipating that there's a possibility that's going to happen. I didn't turn on Goblin Slayer, especially after looking at that cover image where the front like focal point of it is two cute little girls. Like, you're thinking, okay, this is probably like some standard run of the mill like isekai or fantasy anime. I'm like, all right, no, that's not what we got. Well, so it was misleading and like really poor advertising on their part.
Well, we don't even have all the new seasonal anime out yet, because there's that. The one I love is My Little Sister, but she's not my little sister. It's not out yet.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple shows that Crunchy hasn't thrown up yet. There's always a few that come in the second week. I'm like, why the hell can't we all start the same week?
I know. I had to wait because Index 3 came out earlier in the week, but I had to wait like several days for it to come out subbed.
Because let's see, is there anything that I'm looking at here? Oh, Conception. I forgot about that one. I think that's going to be trash anyway, because I've played the games. They're not good.
That's funny, because one of my mutuals, Dark Zedge, he says it's actually a good game.
Yeah, I tried playing one of them at one point. And I don't know. I just couldn't do it. But I mean, who knows? I literally thought nothing of the Phantasy Star Online 2 anime. It ended up being like a lot better than I ever could have thought it would be. So who knows? But yeah,
That's
fuck Goblin Slayer. That's all I got.
yeah. That's
So what do you want to do?
the Bunny Girl
Oh, sorry.
Senpai is probably one I wasn't going to watch, and then I decided saw it up and it's because what sold me on because the image you see all the time of the Bunny Girl is like, I don't know about it. It seems kind of boring, and then saw like a
Well, it
picture of
looks
like
cliche as
one
fuck
guy
at
with like
first.
5 girls, like, oh, that's enough to get my attention.
Well, I give anything that just isn't a category of a show that I know I don't like. I'll give anything a good fair shake at it.
Yeah.
Hell, I gave a really extreme yaoi show a look, and it's interesting.
Here's the difference between Yaoi and Yuri. Yaoi, you know those guys are actually gay because there's actually women around them at the same time, which you actually can buy the idea
Well,
that they're actually gay. Unlike
this show didn't
Yuri.
hide it. Within like 10 minutes, the guy's like, I want to fuck you. I'm like, okay, all right, we're not wasting any time here.
Meanwhile, Yuri stuff is basically they're in an all-girls school, no men around them at all. And it's like, yeah, they're just experimenting.
I think we may have to put that on the bingo card as well.
Yeah, the Fedra
But
says that Shoujo Ai or Yuri, they're not really gay, they're just bored.
well, I guess if we're talking
They're
about the
prison
stuff
gay.
from the first week, yeah, I mean, Bunny Girl was. I was the same kind of boat. I didn't think anything of it when I clicked on it. I'm figuring, okay, this might be passable. And then when I started watching, I'm like, oh, this is giving me weird, like understated, like Monogatari vibes in the way that it's somewhat paranormal and
A little bit like
the main characters are very much like low key and don't have too much of an expression to
like
them.
Hachiman from Origairu, where he just says uncalled for things because he just doesn't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in the sense that like,
My favorite part of that was like when one of his best friend's girlfriend comes up, tell him to stay away from her, stop being friends with him because of the hospital incident. Like, and he just says, "Why are you so irritated? Are you on your period?" Like, oh, this guy's great.
like I do sense a somewhat of a similarity between Mai and Hitagi. I do really feel like there is, like, I'm not saying they're one and the same, but I'm saying that the way that both of them talk the first time we ever see them is very close to the same thing to me.
Or Yukino from Origairu. It's that archetype of the aloof, dark-haired girl who's a bit harsh with her words.
Yeah. And I think that's what grabbed my attention is that a show that I thought at first was going to be just either just really overly over the top sexualized or just kind of boring is actually like really interesting me because I'm trying to understand what we're watching with, like, say, Mai being invisible to mass amounts of people, but in specific areas, with Sakuda and his sister Kaede getting injuries from like invisible deities of some sort. Like, we don't know, and that's why I'm like, I'm really curious about where that's going. But on top of that, the characters themselves all seemingly have their own backstories that I'm going to be interested in too. So there's a lot here to go into. So after one episode, a lot of anime we find just doesn't start anything. This show, to me, has started 4 different branching paths.
Mm-hmm. He also had not the teacher, but the one girl.
The reporter.
Yeah, the reporter, and that girl's like in the science club or something like that. It's really.
Oh, look! You have to have just the hot girl in the bunny suit. You have to have the little flat chested little sister. You have to have the 35-year-old woman that's got like F cups, and then you have to have the nerdy girl. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
And then there's this Shoko girl they keep mentioning, like, and I'm expecting she's the token tsundere that can't spit it out.
What are you talking, the girlfriend of his best friend?
No, there's some girl named Shoko that they kept mentioning.
Don't know if I remember that one, but I was probably like too entranced with everything else to pay attention to that.
Let's see what else came up. Just gonna go through the week and see what aired today. Outside of Tensei Slime, nothing really caught my eye. Well, that's supposed to be.
I can't imagine what could have first caught your eye with Tensei.
Well, I read the manga for that because
I gotta tell you, the first time I saw the dragon do his first like Baka line, I'm like, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, but
I was dying.
well, one of my mutuals on Twitter said that because I tweeted
Well, to be
pictures
fair,
of.
I think everybody who knows you lets you know, oh my god, it's you in dragon form.
I know because I tweeted like this dragon's my spirit animal. On Skies, he says in more ways than you know,
Yeah.
because he's
I,
read the novels, and so
I will say, like, there's a lot to the show that I'm interested in. And the fact that they only gave us two characters at that point and did such a good job with that really makes me interested in what they're going to do with this massive cast they seemingly have. So, and I've only watched one episode, by the way. So,
yeah, I was like getting into stuff like last week, so I watched it one day when there was nothing out. So, yeah, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's better than I expected because but it could all go sideways because I saw that with like Death March it started out like really well done, even though people were on Miami list of all places of why imagine my shock saying that it doesn't look that good. Oh, he's a Kirito ripoff. Like, just shut up.
Death March was a show that had a lot of potential with it, and then it didn't do anything offensively bad. It just kind of coasted and didn't really expand upon it as much as I wanted it to.
It kind of cut out a lot of the content from the not just the novels with the manga because they cut out a lot of content between each adaptation, like the web novel, and then they got the light novel, which cut out some stuff. Then the manga cut out some more stuff, and then you get to the anime, and they just cut out a lot of important things.
Well, that's the problem with having 12 episode anime. It's really difficult to fit all that shit in. That's always the challenge. But yeah, I think the one thing that really intrigued me right off the bat with that time I got reincarnated by a slime was that the guy before he gets transported actually dies, and not only dies, but he dies a hero, which is so unusual because usually when people get transported, it's either by accident or it's like it's comical. And especially
Like
when the show is
content.
as funny as it is, like once you get into slime version, it's all funny again. But like that first 5 minutes is extremely grisly, which
And his
shocked
last
me
words
because
were,
I knew I was getting into a comedy, but I didn't expect the first 5 minutes there.
yeah, his last words to his co-high were basically, take the hard drive out of my computer, put it in water.
See, there was that little bit of comedy to it, but just the fact that it turned sour so fast.
I know it's kind of tragic because and then it kind of reminds me of this manga I've been reading called Nambiri Noka. Basically, this guy, he basically worked himself to death and he got really sick and he died. So when he's presented a chance to reincarnate to another world, he tells the god that he wants to try being a farmer because.
Oh yeah, you're telling me the one where he's trying to just be to not do anything.
Yeah, he pretty much gets a harem as time goes on. And every night he's like, I just want to sleep, because he ends up having have sex with them all the time. He's got like 30 elves in his harem.
But yeah, no, I'm really interested in where that show goes.
Yeah. Well, I've read the manga. It's pretty good. I hope it continues staying good because it's looking promising.
Now I almost had a perfect score for this next one, but I had to give my obligatory -1 point for a dead parent on the show. But Uzamaid had me in fucking stitches for the first episode. I don't know if you heard of that one.
Yeah, I've seen bits of it with the little tsundere girl and she's got the lolicon woman being a maid.
I sat there and watched it with my girlfriend. That was my first mistake. I really shouldn't have showed that show to her because I knew what was coming. My girlfriend, I don't think she's quite used to anime yet. So even though that she knows this is all like over the top, the fact that this girl was so over the top perverted with this little girl she's babysitting, it's like, oh my god. She was just freaking out, and I'm sitting there being like, this is nothing. I'm just being like, no. This
It's
is far.
it's like I tweeted last night when I was finishing Nisei Monogatari. And I was like, you'd think at this point I'd be shocked with the little sister being into her brother. But at this point, I would be more shocked if she was just a sister, not
I was gonna say you pretty much assume at this point that if there's a relation to real life in Japan, apparently one and two sisters are in love with their older brother. So
Yeah, I'm just like at this point, I would be more shocked if the little sister was just a little sister, not like a potential love interest.
well, here's the thing. I'll start making this bet now. If I ever see a show where the little sister is not interested in the older brother, she's going to die at some point in that show.
Uh,
I'm fucking convinced.
yeah,
Because it reminds me the last time I remember a show with a sister that wasn't in love with her older brother, it was Charlotte, and she fucking dies.
Mm-hmm. They said she could be anything she wanted. She became spaghetti sauce.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I was saying to my friends, I wish I watched this show after Goblin Slayer because that probably could have pulled me out of that hell.
Mm-hmm.
Because this I was dying fucking watching the show. I'm hoping that at least can stay consistent because if that can be as funny as it was for 12 episodes, I have a show of my year already potentially lined up for this season.
Yeah, trying to see what else I'm watching that Gaku and Basara, which is based off the Sengoku Basara games. It's sort of like you've heard of Samurai Warriors, right?
Yeah.
It's Capcom's version of that.
Yeah, I'd heard of the I can't even think of the Sengoku Basara, I think you said just a second ago.
Yeah.
I know I'd heard of it. I just never had watched it. I'd seen it like 1,000 times passing through stuff. I just never ended up looking into
I've
it.
never played the games because I never really found them, but because anybody at that point is more into the Koei versions. But I was just like watching it. Then you get to the part where Yukimura and Shingen Takeda are basically acting like Lee and Guy from Naruto, where they're hyping each other up.
Oh, I know what show I was mixing up when I was because I asked you earlier. It's like, is it one of those stupid all bush shows? Yeah, Bakumatsu. Because
Yeah.
I looked right at that cover image. I'm like, I see no girls. I see just a bunch of guys in samurai swords. I'm like, I've seen this shit before.
It's gonna be Fujo bait.
Not even that. I've watched shows like that. It's not even good Fujo bait. It's literally just like a shitty action like fantasy show.
Well, if it's just a shitty action fantasy show, that means that unlike all girl shows, they don't force in the gay bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I really like Gabriel Dropouts. They have an all-girl cast, and they don't feel to hint that these girls are romantically involved.
Well, Satania might, but she'll think that's just being devilish.
Yeah. Well, Satania is not that smart anyway.
Yeah, she'll probably just luck into a Yuri relationship.
It'll
be like Aho Girl. Somebody will just take her for the sake of taking her, just because no one else will.
I didn't do the homework on purpose.
God bless her.
She's like that try-hard evil. She thinks she's being evil, and Gabriel just does it naturally.
Oh,
it just tastes like crap and throws it in the trash can. This is she keeps walking because she doesn't give a shit.
I mean, I already know how to win her over. I give her one bit of melon bread and she'll never leave me again.
That's kind of funny because I just go for Gabriel. People think I'm shit taste, but I like Gabriel. She's cute. I like that type attitude of hers.
So I would ask this because she reminds me a lot of this other character. Do you like Amaru?
I haven't watched that one yet.
Because in all honesty, apart from the being a fallen angel thing, like they're basically the same character.
The shine type of personality where they just want to play video games and watch, or in Amaru's case, just watch anime.
Yeah, as soon as she's home, that's all she wants to do. And when she's at school, she tries to live like the perfect girl life as like a facade almost, just so she doesn't have to deal with any bullshit, so she can just go home to go back to her games. So Gabriel just doesn't want to do anything. She's like, okay, if I do this, then I can do whatever the fuck I want when I get home.
Mm-hmm. Because this guy thought she'd teleport to school, and she had to teleport her panties to school, and she's going to destroy the world over that.
I was like, what do you care? It's like you didn't want to go to school in the first place.
Let's see what it's... Because I know I picked up a few...
I'm just looking at my list. I think I've put more shit on the like you have one chance left notice board than anything else because there's just a lot of stuff I didn't like. Either I didn't like or I'm like,
Ulysses,
I don't think you have anything.
Ulysses, Joan of Arc and Alchemist Knight. It might be good. I'm not completely sold on it. It has a good premise, but
It looks good, like in terms of its design, like it
yeah,
looks great. It's just, it's another one of those cases of like, okay, I see that you have something, but are you going to do anything with it?
I know. And I get the disgusted feeling that that Richmond girl got raped.
Well, I don't know.
It got. I just hope some of those like Bible thumping Christians didn't see that because it basically said that Jesus sold his soul to the devil.
Like, let's see. Obviously I dropped Goblin Slayer. I think that was implied.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna have a terrible time pronouncing Chinese. Xuanyang's sword, just it was a pile of fucking nonsensical bullshit. I dropped it halfway into the episode.
Yeah, let's see.
Made
That's
no
why I'm watching
sense.
Index 3, and
I'm color me shocked.
everyone knows I'm watching that. But they announced this weekend that they're doing a third season of Railgun and they're doing an anime of Accelerator story. See, that's per my Naruto rant earlier. This is how you uh, monopolize on your franchise best. You don't make a sequel about the kids that no one wants to hear about. You make spin-offs about the other interesting characters in that universe. Tell their stories.
Yeah.
Because people are interested in those characters. They don't want to hear about their bullshit kids that someone else made. That's what I hate about like Naruto. That someone else came up with the idea of these pairings because Kishimel's just supervising. He's not writing the story. Like, yeah, it's just like I just here's my issue. Like, Hinata's not a horrible character, but she's not interesting. She's that horrible example of what a Dandere is. Like, it's like how Louise is a bad example of a Tsundere. She's a bad example of a Dandere because there are amazing Danderes out there, like Hanekawa, and he's a Monogatari, or just Monogatari, I should say. Because Nisei Monogatari, she goes through this character change where she's not this meek, shy girl. She's probably the most scary girl in the series.
Yeah.
She's that quiet girl that no one suspects is probably the most scary person there is. Like, there's a scene where he's on his way to Conver's house with his sister because his sister wanted to meet her. Like, and he didn't mention that he was going there, but somehow she knew. That girl is scary. That's kind of how I see a Dandori should be. They should be that quiet girl that you don't want to make angry. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be the doormat. That's what I hate about like, because I don't know if you ever saw Amagami.
I've tried to, and it was just one of those shows that like I didn't mind it, and then I just ended up getting distracted by something else.
Yeah, well,
All I know is that
Amagami has
all I know is that I love Ray. That's all I know.
who?
I know her last name's Ayanami.
No, not Evangelion. Amagami.
Oh fuck! What am I mixing up with? Okay, that's gonna piss me off because I still know who I'm talking about, and I just mixed up names. Fuck me. Oh Jesus Christ! Fuck.
Nanasaki Ai.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's my girl.
Good lord.
I like her.
How the hell did I just make that fucking flow there? Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
I'd say I need more alcohol, but I don't drink, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point.
Yeah, but in Amagami, there's this Dandere type character named Nakata Sei, or Sai. Not,
Yeah.
and she's that shy girl, but she goes through character growth where she's not going to be the shy girl that can't speak to people. Because her whole reason for being that shy girl is because she's gone to an all girls school most of her life, and now she's in a co-ed school and doesn't know how to interact with boys. Even though she's a Fujoshi.
Yeah. Well, isn't that kind of how it almost ends up being in a way?
Yeah.
Like generally speaking, there is I guess the stereotypes that the guys who really love harem animes are the ones that couldn't talk to girls to save their life. So
Yeah, that's probably what I am. Because But
I guess I'm a sort of a hybrid.
but that's kind of thing. Like the shy girl, they're just like handled really poorly. But some people just like everyone goes with the violent tsunderes instead of ones who just got a sharp tongue, or they kind of keep everyone at arm's distance because they're afraid to get close to anyone. Because what people don't understand about tsunderes is that they're not really mean. It's that they're kind of on the shy side. They're afraid of being hurt.
Well, there are some Tsunderes that are just being kind of cuntish about it, but realistically, the average Tsundere character is more just like, it's not that they hate you, it's just they're not ready to deal with you, so they just want you to go away until they can figure out how.
Well, it's sort of like Misaka Makoto from Index. After Toma helped her, she starts developing feelings for him, and she doesn't know how to process it because she's a tomboyish girl.
I don't know how she expects people not to love the shit out of her, though. Have you seen that fucking polka dot swimsuit? It's like you just want to hug her.
All the frills.
Yeah.
I know. That really suits her, too.
It's one of those shows that I haven't gotten around to watching, but goddamn, believe me, I know a lot more imagery about that show than I need to.
Yeah. Let's see. I think there's like, let's see, here's one problem. Like, all these new adaptations of these older series like Berserk and Fist of the North Star, they do the CG animation, and Japan just doesn't do it right. It just looks kind of clunky when they do it.
Yeah.
Because I like Fist of the North Star. I can't say bad things about it because that's realistic edginess. Like, it's a post-apocalypse Mad Max world with kung fu. Let's see.
What's on my list here? Well, I mean, I guess there was the one show that had basically half of it devoted to Fujoshi, which would have driven you nuts. Skullface bookseller Honda-san, which I swear to God, the first time I saw it, I'm like, this is going to be shit. And then I looked at it, I'm like, no, this is like really good, like 1 a.m. Cartoon Network, like Toonami level stuff. And I was laughing so hard by the end of it. Mostly because I'm like, this is basically Fenris Hell in the second half of this episode. That would literally be your purgatory, being a clerk in a bookstore, and you just get asked endless questions about BL.
Probably. Gridman, as I mentioned, is one I picked up because I wanted to see it. And here's the thing that makes me a little bit worried. Studio Trigger. After Darling in the Franxx, I don't know if we can trust them yet.
Yeah. I think I've seen enough of what Darling in the Franxx is to be like, okay, I understand why certain people like this. It's not my thing. I'll just deal with the fan art and just all the doujins and hentai that'll come of it. I'll take that. But
here's the thing about Darling.
I don't get it.
This was back when I still watched Micah Kurtz's podcast or streams he did on the weekends. Like, someone asked him why he watched like Darling in the Franxx because apparently he likes giant robots, and he looked into it and he's like, "Oh, it's waifu bait." Like, oh, you ignorant motherfucker. So what if it's got waifus? All anime has waifus.
Well, to be fair, like apparently these days, anything with the character is a really nice butt might as well be waifu bait at this point.
Yeah.
Which is basically 95% of anime these days, and the other 5% is just all boy butt. That's really what it is now.
And it's just like, I get tired of this, oh, it's waifu bait. Why do people have waifus? That's why I stopped watching his streams. Like, he goes on these tirades about why he hates modern anime. Like, why does it bother you if people have waifus?
Well, here's the biggest thing that I've always gone with the waifu issue. It's like, it doesn't matter if we have harems or we have any other standard run of the mill like popular anime. People just end up gravitating to characters in the same way that we as like movie watchers end up suddenly attaching to, say, oh my God, I really love Jennifer Lawrence's character. Like, oh my God, I want to bang Megan Fox's character in Transformers. Like, people just happen to do that in the same way that women watch movies too and be like, oh my God, I want to fuck Brad Pitt in this movie. Like, it's the same thing. The only difference is he's just mad because it gets in the way of the anime he likes, I guess.
Yeah, because see, this guy, he likes JoJo. He goes on about like muscular characters, like I said when I was doing a stream with Lionel. We get, Micah, you're gay.
I was gonna say, it's fine. Like whatever the fuck you want to like, but it doesn't mean it has to just be the only thing.
I know that's what pisses me off. Like, see, the thing with waifus is like, why does it bother you if people have waifus? The waifu makes these people happy. They're not telling you you have to accept that because most people that have a waifu, they don't really want to marry this character. They just, for them, it's like an idealized version of the kind of girl they could go for.
Well, let me tell you, sir, if Charlotte Dunois suddenly appears in the world, I am dropping everything I have and going all in on that.
Well, obviously, because Charlotte is voiced by Hanakana.
I'm not talking about the voice actors. I don't give a fuck.
I know, but that's what helps make her better. That soft,
And
sweet.
well, I wouldn't even know the difference because I didn't watch the Japanese version. I always dubs because of the accent they put with her.
Yeah, well, I just more like she's that kind of girl. Like we, let's be honest, who really likes Hoki? Reed
Okay,
is a better.
okay. What are you asking? Are you liking her as a person, or because I have two different answers on that front?
Well, physically, of course, people are going to like her, but
Because yeah, that
once she
first
starts,
episode in season 2, I suddenly started liking Hoki a lot more.
but like her personality is what the problem is. Like it's like
I
that where you see this girl and you think, oh, she's cute, and then she starts talking.
I think that like when I told you a while ago about the set of articles that I used to do where I actually like went a lot more in depth on what I thought of a person's character, I think characters like Hoki, like obviously the people that immediately say last season's Yuna in the Haunted Hot Springs with Sagiri, same kind of thing where the second she catches you with anybody, she freaks out and starts beating the shit out of you. I look at characters like Hoki and like Sagiri and others like her, that in a real setting, I think you're going to see a lot more of a tame version of them because obviously the character really fleshes out because of the harem situation that you see in the show.
Yeah.
So I think that Hoki would be like the exact same ridiculously terrible personality in real life. I don't think that's the case. I think she still might be a bit of a difficult person to get along with, but I think without counting the ridiculousness of an anime setting, she might be okay. And besides, with the kind of people that we see in real life, you could do so much worse.
Mm-hmm. It's since they started announcing stuff, I'm gonna see what's coming up in like winter. Not much has changed.
Is there anything else that I saw that's in this first week? Other than that, there was like that space fishing one that I'm just like, this is weird enough that I want to see what the hell it does with it.
Well, in winter we're getting the quintessential quintuplets. I don't know if you heard about that one, but the premise is you got this poor boy who's like a academic genius, and he's been hired to tutor like five girls who are like quintuplets, and each of them has like a different personality. So, but eventually all of them fall in love with him, and they're trying to decide. It's like a race to see who gets to be the legal wife or something like that.
What's the name of the show?
The quintessential quintuplets.
I don't know if I can find this.
I'll send it to you on Discord.
Let's see. Well, I'm just thinking if it's supposed to, like, is this like an anime or are we talking a manga here?
It's an anime, but it started as a manga.
Okay. Just because I don't think I saw it on Live Chart when I was looking. So
yeah, I sent you the link to it on Anime Planet or on Discord. I sent to you there. Let's see.
Not that much.
But in spring we're getting like not much has been announced yet, but we're getting One Punch Man. And I hate modern animes. I hate One Punch Man. I'm just gonna say that.
I think we went through all the stuff. There's just not anything that I'm like looking forward to. There's nothing that's like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff that I look at the cover image. I'm like, okay, this might be interesting, but I mean, there's nothing I'm looking forward to. I mean,
yeah,
I was just really excited to see that Fooly Cooly was coming back. Now it's just a matter of me waiting till it's all done so I can pirate it because it's obviously not on Crunchy and I don't use any other service at this point. So,
see, here's another thing: like anime normies, like Tonka saw and a lot of these streamers I'll watch, they don't really get stuff like Dragon Ball. Like they don't understand like Dragon Ball GT is not canon, and it like is like the greatest sin of an anime fan. Like, and they go on and talk about like Dragon Ball Super, how Goku becomes a god. Like, and it shows that they don't know anything. Like, all these people they don't understand that like Dragon Ball is like a parody of the Journey West. That's what began as like. That's the reason why he's named Son Goku.
Well, are they making the claim that they know everything there is to know, or are they just casual fans that are just talking about what they like?
Well,
And
they're like
it's
casual fans and they don't understand like why Goku becomes a god in Dragon Ball Super. Like, if you're familiar with like the mythology of the Monkey King, you understand that he eventually met Indra, like the he's like a god fighting or something like that, and he makes Goku like the ultimate fighting Buddha or something like that, basically a god.
no, and in fact, that's the first I've ever heard of that with Dragon Ball. I've always just kind of just looked
Yeah,
at it as its own thing.
yeah. Dragon Ball Super, he becomes a god, but if you know the Monkey King mythology,
Like I know of because I know of some of it just because of the video game Enslaved Odyssey to the West, but
yeah, it's something I've learned about from like reading like Campione and everything's because Monkey King always comes up in like stuff where they talk about mythologies because Japan loves that story.
mhm.
And
Oh yeah, given the amount of like projects that I've seen that have been based off that story, yeah, I can see that they really do attach to that.
yeah, they do borrow from the legends here and there. And I was like, I think that God who made Goku and God as well was the same one that made like Guan Yu a god.
Mhm.
I think it's like Indra or something like that. Let's see, because I might got the name wrong, and because sworn that it was Indra, because it's another name for Barathragna, which is a Persian war god. But it's just one of those things that it's not that weird if you understand like the mythology, but to a normie, you won't get it. It's sort of like when I do streams
That's,
with Brockus and he bitches about like the Fate series and how Mordred is a girl and how he's come to terms with Arturia being a girl. But it bothers him that Mordred is also a girl.
I was gonna say, look, like I'm bothered, but that Spaz 12 is a girl now, so
I don't know.
that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I guess just because I don't have the capacity to really go too in depth with things. Like, I'm not bothered when people kind of change things a little bit when it comes to fictional stories.
Well,
It really depends on the source material, I guess.
here's my take on it. Because Japan, I have like this meme of the aliens guy from the History Channel that just says Japan. That's how I look at it. Like Japan will make fucking warships into girls. You think they're going? And it's like King Arthur being a girl. And it's something that they've done like in Arrowgate for a long time. Because AU Senki is a thing where they made King Arthur into this heart-eyed, where they got the pupils that look like hearts and all that kind of girl.
I guess here's my question with I guess with Fate, with Mordred and all them, it's not directly like a retelling of a historical story. It's just its own. They're using the names for characters as like a reference, more or less.
Well, it's more like the way fate works is that there's a secret history to the world that we just don't know about.
But it's not a retelling of anything. It's making shit up.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, because I was about to be like, it would be really hypocritical of me to say all of a sudden that like that's okay, like with them making them female and stuff. But what I said about like, for example, not liking the fact that the new Fantastic Four changed Johnny Storm from white to black, I was about to say that'd be really hypocritical of me. But then I kind of thought about it for a second. I'm like, no, because what Fantastic Four does is it's just changing the color of a character that's established and not changing the story. With anime, though, I guess if people would get upset that, oh, but this character's always been a guy in whatever story it is, but they're not retelling that story. It's like its own fictional universe.
well, if you look at see, here's the thing about Mordred. Mordred was created without Arturia's consent by Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
reason why Arturia does not recognize Mordred as their child, because they didn't consent to it, because Mordred's a homunculus.
yeah.
She did not agree to that. Morgan Le Fay did that on her own will. That's the reason why Arturia doesn't recognize her as her child. And it's just like Medusa, yeah, in the mythology, Medusa wasn't a warrior. She's just a really hot girl. But in the Fate universe, she was. It's a little bit more complicated because it's basically saying that there's like a secret history in this world that none of us really know, because the world where
Yeah.
magic exists.
Yeah, when that's the case, you have a little bit more freedom to work with.
Yeah,
because it's totally fiction.
Yeah, because
like obviously there are people that would be like, say with right now with Ulysses, Jeanne d'Arc, it's taking off from like the 100 Years War, but it's still its own like fictional version of it.
Yep.
Speaking of which, it's really threw me off because I literally the day before was having Thanksgiving dinner and we were watching the original Harry Potter, and they mentioned the name Nicholas Flamel, which I didn't even know was like a person in like 1400s France. And then I go and watch Ulysses and they mention his name. I'm like, what the fuck is with the Harry Potter crossover? And then I look it up. Oh, this is a real guy.
Yeah.
Threw me the fuck off.
Yep. And we haven't met Jeanne d'Arc yet.
Well, I imagine she'll be episode 2. I was actually surprised we didn't see her either, but I guess they were trying to set everything up.
Yeah, it's basically she's going to be the token Wally of the harem.
Why the fuck not? You got to have one. So have you finished all your stuff from the fall yet, or the summer? Sorry,
I forget what else I picked up during the summer.
Because I know you're saying you finally finished platelets. I mean, cells at work.
Let's just call it platelets at work because that's the only reason we watched it.
I thought you just call it. I know.
And on and on. You need to calm down.
That's all I needed.
Yeah. I think that's the only one I really picked up during the summer. I did pick up Master Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar, but thing about that one was that they drop you right into the middle of the story and you don't really know what's going on.
I gotta tell you, because once I finally finished because I've completely finished the summer now, all my stuff. I'm really irritated that all except one show finished poorly. The only one that didn't finish poorly was How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. It had an amazing last episode.
Let's see. I also picked up Island, but I kind of stalled on that. I had to switch that to stalled. I'll probably pick it up sometime later.
Yeah, Island's a slow starter, and then once it really starts to turn up the mystery, it's a lot better.
I finished Planet With too, so
yeah,
I did finish 2.
Like out of everything I finished, Cells at Work had an okay finale. Chio School Road was terrible for its last episode, which really disappointed me because that show was funny the entire way through.
Yeah.
Harukana Received did exactly what I thought it would do. It did the typical thing where the sports anime has the rookie somehow beat the veteran pair because they have to set up the second season. That probably won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Island finished fine, I guess. It answered everything. It answered all the questions I needed answered, except I didn't like the answers. That was the only problem. I obviously can't tell you anything.
Like the Rene route. Did the Rene route, and I was kind of more interested in Karin.
Well, the thing by the end of it, I'm like, I understood what they told me, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, this is what I have a problem with when it comes to shows trying to implement time travel. No one does it well. I've never seen an anime do time travel well.
It's also a visual novel, which I hate when they do this. Like they pick like the kind of default main girl route, and it's like, but what if I like the other girls?
Well, I mean, technically, by the end of the show, it doesn't go the main girl route, but it does. It's confusing.
Yeah, because I understand that he marries like the Rene that was pretending to be Kuan, and
yeah, which I was all disappointed by because I'm like, crap, that means Kuan's taking shit. But yeah, Overlord finished terrible too. God.
I just more like I like Karin. Why can't they just do Karin's route? I
Yeah.
want to. That's why I hate when they do visual novels because they're just like, we're gonna adapt this girl's route.
Will you just shut up and stop being so obviously biased to the word Tsundere route? Jesus.
Well, I don't always go the Tsundere route because I was disappointed like Shizune and Katawa Shoujo.
Yeah, but I know what you're doing here. You're like, go the Tsundere. No, no, no.
I did.
Go.
So my favorite route in Katawa Shoujo is either Hanako or Lily.
Oh, I'm just talking island. It's
Oh, well,
like it makes sense to go the Rine route. Come on.
I just.
The entire story is about Rine and Setsuna. Like, come on.
But Karin has twin tails.
Well, she also has a really nice butt, but that's not the point.
That's all that matters.
You know, I that was a show that I thought was going to be crap, and it ended up really exceeding my expectations. I was just disappointed that they just complicated it way too much at the end, and they rushed it. I think they needed one more episode to finish it because they
Yeah,
really the 12th episode they literally like try to like put 40 minutes of content in like 10,
yeah,
and it looks so rushed.
yeah. As I understand, Hanebado basically had Ayano tell her mom to get the fuck out of here.
I wouldn't know. I dropped that show because I didn't feel like being pissed off watching anime anymore. I'm like, no, this isn't fun.
Yeah, let's see.
Fuck, even Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs didn't end that great. It wasn't a bad episode, but this is what Yuna and the Hot Springs tried to do. They said, okay, for our last episode, because you know, usually harem animes, when they do the last episode, it's some crazy hijinks that everybody gets involved in. Nope. They decide to kick half the characters out for the last episode. Just half of them go away like going away because it's like summer, so they go away to go home. And it's like, but they're having a beach episode. Why are you leaving?
I did pick up one summer anime like last week because I wanted to watch the last route. There's one room.
Oh Jesus.
Because that silver haired girl is just my type. I go for the tsunderes and she has silver hair, like
Those shows just creep me out. That's my problem.
the one that's for
The first person shows, they creep me the fuck out.
I know because you don't see the guy, but I just I just enjoy it for what it was. Like
It's also just weird in general because it's like they're trying to be like it's like they're talking to you. I'm like, but I'm not talking back. It doesn't work that way.
I know
Maybe you could pull this off in VR one day, but it doesn't make sense on a television screen where I'm doing zero participation in this.
I know you just shut that part of your brain, and just enjoy it for a moment.
No, I can't. Even though I love the art in that goddamn show,
I know.
can't. It's too weird.
I know. I gotta try and finish it. I did enjoy like the first arc of the first season, where because basically of all the thigh shots, because I got a weakness for thighs. Like
It's not a weakness. That's come on.
it's a
That's not a
fetish.
weakness. That's normal. That's just normal.
It's
Stop
my
it.
fetish. It's my fetish. It's a lot more normal than people that get off the feet.
Yeah, no, that's where I'm like, no, that's not.
That's not healthy to be at the feet.
It's like, look, sure, maybe if you could tell me that the floor they always walk on is perfectly clean, but otherwise, no.
I know. And sometimes you see all those shots of the foot. Like, who is this catering to?
Like apart from all the obviously really extreme stuff, that when it comes to feet and then food is like the two things that I don't get at all.
I'm going back to like Spring to Citrus thing. I didn't really give it. I wanted to watch My Sweet Tyrant, but I just never got around to it.
My Sweet Tyrant. Why am I mixing up shows here?
It's the one about
Oh my god, why am I know exactly what this is, and I'm just not.
the male tsundere has got a really he's like he acts all
Oh, the one where the guy's a dickhead. Yeah.
yeah. He's got
Oh, well,
like got pictures of his girlfriend all over his ceiling. Like he's got a problem.
see, the whole thing with him like constantly like bad mouthing her when she's standing right there. It's honestly like how I jokingly talk to my girlfriend once in a blue moon, just to kind of make her like, what? Although the second half of it, where he's literally got like shrines to his girlfriend, no, I don't go that far. But I remember the first time I watched this episode, I finished it, stopped it, looked at my girlfriend, and said, "You need to come here right now." And I turned it back on and showed it to her again. She's like, She just looked at me and kind of glared, and I just started laughing.
I do need to find some time to watch like Real Girl. It's a shoujo anime from like the spring. I started on it and I got sidetracked with other things, so I haven't watched it all. But I did finish Megalobox from that season. That was really good because in the end, I was, the, you better not be taking a leak on stream.
No, that is literally me opening up my glasses case to clean my glasses. That's all.
All right, because I had that problem with Lionel several times.
Oh, really?
He takes leaks on stream.
I keep forgetting half the time that certain things I have make a lot more noise than the others. So I was like, wait, you hear that? And then I'm like, wait, I literally was holding this right next to the microphone. Of course you fucking heard it.
I was like, you better not be taking a leak on stream because it's bad enough that Lionel does that.
Nah, man, I'm actually a professional. I take the leak before the show starts.
I know. I was streaming him one night and he all of a sudden I hear like water running. I'm like, are you taking a leak on stream?
I'm trying to think. I think out of like a variety of like shows that I've done, whether it's been live streams, whether it's been podcasts, I don't think I've ever stopped a podcast to take a leak.
Yeah,
I'm usually pretty good for that. I'm also a masochist. I can hold it for as long as I fucking need to. So
I do need to finish Wotakoi. Because it's the one about the otaku and the fujoshi that start dating.
I don't think I've seen this one. No, I have no idea which one this is.
Well,
just from looking at it, I'm like, I don't think I've seen this. Oh, let's see. Anime, when did it start? It did start in the summer. It just probably wasn't on Crunchy. That's why.
Yeah, it was in the spring is when it aired it. Like,
usually what happens is that when a season ends, if there are a couple of shows that Crunchy didn't have that people will talk endlessly about, I'll add that to my list of shows I'll eventually watch if I ever get around to remembering it. Which I've only finally started watching the second season of Uvu Maruchan, which has taken me way too goddamn long to do.
Yeah,
this is the problem with being a gamer as well. Like, I'm like, I could watch some anime that I missed last season, or I could spend 5 hours grinding in Destiny. Shit.
I might have to pull late nighter on Destiny so I can finish a few of my bounties that took.
Well, the upside, like I think I told you earlier today, my shifts changed, and what's happening now is I'm working 410. So I have, at least for the next little while, I'm going to have Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday off, and then Thursday, Friday, and then I get the weekend again like I normally would. Having that extra like full day off is going to help me so goddamn much for grinding in the mornings.
Yeah, I've been watching anime. I've been forgetting to do Destiny, and the other day I was going to watch like Nisimonogatari on Saturday, and I started playing Mad Max. I got like, I'm just gonna go get one more thing. Pretty soon it's like almost 10 o'clock. I'm like, fuck.
Well, that's the thing too. Obviously, for the 4 days that I'm working, I'm working basically 10 to 8 at night. So
yeah,
I'm gonna get home and realize, crap, I've only got like maybe 3 hours and change before I should probably go to sleep. It's like, well, I'm not gonna get too much done, but
yeah,
I'm usually pretty good at segmenting time though, so I think I can find enough.
I do wish,
at least with having the Wednesday.
I do wish the Misfit came in like the solar and void damage archetypes because it's just such a good gun.
Yeah,
it shoots like a hard light almost, where it's got like a consistent grouping.
See, I'm having a blast going old school back with Cold Heart.
I tried using Cold Heart, but I just don't like it. I like the Prometheus lens better.
Well, I mean, it's only because I don't have Prometheus lens. So,
I got my Prometheus lens from a chest.
Although, if Prometheus lens is in the primary slot, I'll never use it because I will never. I don't ever want to have to ever not use a bow ever again. Unless I'm playing Crucible, then I go back to Meta multi-tool because it still works.
Oh, you got tired using bows?
Well, no, bows are not nearly as good in Crucible as I'd like them to be.
Oh yeah, they take too long to aim, and by the time you get your arrow knocked back, Not aim.
There's two other things to it too. I play with Foe Tracer on my Hunter, so it means that if I ever sight somebody, I can always see them behind the wall. The idea is that with Mida, you also still get radar while you're looking down sight, so it really helps. So I know when the guy's going to come around the corner, but I also still have the radar up, so I know if somebody's about to flank me that I can still get out of it. So having a bow, it's like without having radar, I'm the kind of guy that like I remember used to playing like Call of Duty when it was still like not shit back in the like older Modern Warfare days, and I would always be silent, radar on as much as possible, and I wouldn't show up on radar if I shot all the time. I'd always run with the suppressor because my idea was always you never know where I am, but I always know where you are.
Mm-hmm. Here's something I have a question about with conception. It says on his high school graduation day, Itsuki's cousin Mahiro tells him she's pregnant. Now I want to know, is he the father?
I don't know.
That's one thing that's bothering me about the guys, or is he going to raise his wife's son? That whole cuckold joke, basically. My wife's son.
That's one of those shows that I'm just like, I'll give you a shot, but I'm expecting nothing from you.
Yeah, one of my friends, Doug Zedge, says it's a pretty good game, so I'm going to give it a shot.
I mean, at this point, I'm looking at what I've got for this season. This could be a season where I end with like less than 5 shows.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. The first week, usually there's like 3 to 5 that I'm like, all right, these are going to be my mainstays. I have maybe 1, maybe 2. Like Uzumade, I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with, and Slime, I should. Everything else could royally fuck up.
Yeah. Well, here's one I had to put. I don't want to watch. Is basically Sword Art Online because it's like, oh, here we go again with this bullshit.
Oh, I just won't do it because I'm a hipster piece of shit that doesn't watch what the #1 show of the season's always going to be to people.
I know. I had to throw the series on mute because I just don't want to hear about it. Because for me, Sword Art Online, and when Sinan became meaningless to the series, like she was more interesting than everyone's starter waifu, Asuna.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I did give it a fair shake. By fair shake, I meant 2 episodes before I'm like, I don't think you have anything. And keep in mind, like, if I had watched the show first before watching shows like Overlord, like Log Horizon, maybe it could have stood a chance, but because I've seen so much better than what Sword Art is, I have no reason to watch Sword Art.
Well, Log Horizon is one that does it best. They're trapped in a game like, let's stop killing each other and just try and make things work.
Well, their idea is, we might be here a while. Let's maybe figure out how to actually live in this fucking place first.
No, let's kill each other because we've got nothing better to do with our lives.
Well, there were still the PKers in that game, but they were very few and far between.
Yeah, Log Horizon, they're just like...
Because at least the cities were a safe space.
Yeah. I'm at Sword Online, they were just like, kill everyone! And Log Horizon are like, the PKers are just like, let's not do this.
That just keeps reminding me that I still have to finish season 2. God damn, that's another thing I might never get to because I keep forgetting about it.
See, here's another thing people don't understand about Log Horizon is they weren't in a VR MMO. They were in like a normal MMO. And
well, yeah.
They wake up in the game, they don't know, because most of them don't know how to walk as their characters. Like,
well, yeah, they didn't even realize how to use their skills for the longest time.
Yeah, Shiroi, he had trouble walking because he's not used to being so tall.
Yeah. And then, well, poor Akatsuki, she's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this thing.
So she uses one of those potions. That
thank God those potions existed.
Yeah.
Normally, people would be like, oh, what a great plot device. I'm like, no, I think this one was necessary.
But also, just tackles issues a lot better. I was part of a sort of debate on Snatchcast about Kirito, and this guy kind of made a valid point that Kirito might just be severely autistic, because if you look at like a lot of stuff about him, like just like, okay, and basically autistically building computers and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about.
Yeah,
I didn't watch enough of the show to really get a sense of what he was.
Well, this guy I was debating was trying to say that Kirito's the best character ever. And I'm like, I don't know about that because there's better characters out there.
Mhm.
Better characters that represent autism too. Like, what's her name from No Game No Life? Because it's heavily implied that the silver-haired girl from No Game No Life is basically autistic because she's got like some kind of communication disorder, which is like a catch-all for like terms like autism in Japan, like that you had trouble communicating.
Yeah.
Because that's what autism really is. Because people misunderstand that autism is similar to Down syndrome. It's not. Autism is more like unable to be able to communicate with people, like picking up on sarcasm. Like I don't like mention bring this up, like but like the Big Bang Theory, because Sheldon doesn't understand sarcasm.
Yeah.
Because I my mom used to watch like Bones, and I just couldn't stand the show because it had such a feminist slant to it. Like it was like, and it got to my nerves how because the character's implied to be like autistic. Like I get that she's autistic, but at a certain point she should have learned to pick up on the idea that figures of speech aren't being they don't mean it literally. Because autistic people are capable of learning that some people are being sarcastic. God, but I wouldn't go so far as to say Kirito's the best character ever when there's so many better characters out there. Like
Well, it's
like
why
Hatsuma and
no one takes no like self-respecting anime fan takes, say, for example, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards seriously because it's not an award ceremony. It's just a popularity vote.
yeah, because let me see. The year before they gave like every award to Yuri on Ice and
Hey, you
like
know what? Let's see. What was the awards for 2017? That's what I'm curious about.
and this year they gave them all to like My Hero Academia. And that's what pissed people off because
Yeah, so Made in Abyss won, which was not a surprise because every like anime critic thought it was the greatest thing. I never watched it, and I've heard too much depressing stuff about it that I have zero interest in checking it out. After that, Best Girl, My Hero, Best Boy, My Hero, Best Manga, I don't care. Best Hero, My Academia, Best Villain, My Hero, Best Action, My Hero, Best Drama, Ancient Magus Bride, because everybody loves that fucking show, which weirds me out.
I just can't get into stuff from Show and Jump anymore because they do a cliche where they gotta have the tournament arc. So we're
Honestly,
going to have the guy that everyone thinks is weak lose, and we're going to have the already obnoxious rival win.
the only thing I can agree with at this point is the best comedy was Kobayashi, and even then, I don't think it was the best comedy, but I'll take that getting any sort of award because that show was really good.
Yeah, I just have a problem with it beating Konosuba because
Yeah.
Konosuba's like top tier comedy. You have the dry wit Kazuma with all the slapstick girls.
Or the nominees. Well, that'll really give me a sense of things. So between it, when they were doing like the best opening, I don't know who won. I'm assuming it was My Hero. Aka's 13's opening was fucking badass because it reminded me of like Persona music. It reminded me of like Persona 3's music, which was really good.
God damn, I can't believe Bandura was released in 2000.
Let's see. Well, I think everybody knew that if Your Name wasn't going to win Best Film, that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Best CG. I didn't actually. The only show on that list that I even watched was Kado the Right Answer, which had amazing CG, but I know it won't win because no one likes shows I like. uh,
Let's see.
Best animation. They did have Kobayashi and My Hero Academia on there, or not My Hero. Sorry, no. Well, My Hero Academia obviously won, but they gave Little Witch Academia. That's what I was trying to say. A
God.
nominee. They gave March Comes in Like a Lion nominee for best animation. I'm sorry, that animation is not good animation. That style looks terrible. I'm sorry.
I liked it.
I know some people will disagree with that. I don't think that's good looking animation. It's unique, but it's not good looking.
I think it's got a really artsy feel to it that makes it stand out a little bit more.
That's why I don't like it. It's because it doesn't look clean.
Well, it could be, or it could be like Monogatari's postmodernist art.
Yeah.
And it works for Monogatari because it's a different kind of series. I'm gonna send you a link to something from my anime list that shows how, or maybe Anime Planet, I should say. It shows how small like the anime seasons were back in 2000.
There we go. There's the best comedy nominee. So they gave Mr. Osamatsu a nominee. I don't care for that one. I don't know what people saw in that show.
Is that the one with the really ugly looking characters that got like buck teeth and all that?
Yeah, the one that was like legit like a show like back in the 50s or 60s, I think.
Oh
They brought
god.
it back. Little Witch Academia got a vote. Konosuba, yeah, that got beaten. I mean, between the two, Kobayashi and Konosuba are both really funny. Just depends on which kind of funny you want.
Yeah. I
The
think
one that I will not accept, Gamers is not a funny show.
No, it's not. It's not.
I don't know who voted for that, but that is retarded.
I was going to watch it and I just saw all the cringe.
Like, if you're gonna like literally, I look down and there's the Best Slice of Life award and MMO Junkie and Monster Girls, like Demi-chan was both in there. Both of those shows are far funnier than Gamers ever was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even crack a smile. I watched, I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes of Gamers. I gave it a lot of rope. There was never funny in that show.
Well, here's the thing about Gamers. I was going to watch it, then I saw the cringe. I was in the show. I was like, nope, I don't do cringe. I just can't do it because it makes me so embarrassed. I had to leave the room. That's what's bad for me. Like this kind of cringe that you see on television. If I'm watching a show and I get to a really cringy moment, I just get up and walk out the room because I don't want to watch it. Because
Yeah.
it makes me so embarrassed I can't watch it.
But yeah, I'm honestly sorry, but like it's why that I don't understand why we can't have just awards that aren't just popularity contests. I cannot stand it. It's why I can't take any award show seriously because it's either an industry controlled ceremony or it's a popularity contest, and neither of them are interesting to me.
Well, this is also proves why in America we should have direct democracy because mob rule.
Like the closest thing we have to, at least from what I've seen, a decent anime award show is what Team 4-Star does at the end of their season, where the three of them collectively try to agree on something.
Yeah.
They throw their nominee into the hat and then they try to agree on it. And it's very rare that they all come up with the same answer.
It's just really bad because the year before, people were pissed off because they gave most heartwarming moment to Yuri on Ice and when Erased existed. Like
I was gonna say, yeah,
that moment where that girl
she's eating breakfast for the first time. Yeah, I'm sorry. If something makes me nearly cry, that's a heartwarming moment. Fuck
just
off.
thinking about it, it's making me sad. Like,
Yeah.
That's a little bit more touching than an indirect kiss between two boys. Look at Fujoshi.
So sorry, what am I looking on here with this link that you showed me?
I'm just showing you like how little anime there were like in seasons past. Like I was just looking through, see what seasons in the past looked like, and that's not very much anime.
Is that actually like what was going on in Japan, or is that just what we knew of? Though that's my question.
That's what I want to know because basically,
because I have a hard time believing that Japan only had in the winter of 2000 9 shows running.
Yeah, that's kind of hard for me to process because it's just like,
and realistically, it's more like 5 because 4 of them are kid shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a sec. I think that's.
Oh, I remember watching Super Milk Chan. I remember Adult Swim running that. I was like, that was like really weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't believe that it was that small back then. Like, I have to check my anime list because I don't really use them that much. But sure, there was probably more.
Again, this is why I just love titles of anime. I see 2 things here for the winner that says Flying Babies and Girly Air Force. I'm like, okay.
I've been calling Girly Air Force like, I think I was saying it's basically girls in Panzer with jets.
What's wrong with that?
That sounds like a good idea because people like girls in Panzer. Yeah, I'm gonna check my anime list because it seems like they show a little bit more on my anime list because I'm looking at like 1982 to see what they had. Because that's when Macross came out. They had like Macross, Space Cobra, Tokimeki Tonight.
Well, I think it's the big thing too is that we weren't really keeping track of that kind of stuff back then. Like,
Yeah.
Japan really didn't like wholeheartedly make a good run at us until like the mid 2000s.
Well, let me send you what I found on Miami list for 1982, and they had like a bunch of continuing shows and new shows.
But yeah, I mean, realistically, like it wasn't until Miyazaki really started pushing that we really started paying attention.
Yeah. And then he sold out. He basically sold out to Disney. And he thinks he has the audacity to say anime was a mistake.
Because yeah, Spirit Away was 2001.
That's one thing about Miyazaki that pisses me off. He's like, he sells sells like to Disney, and he says anime was a mistake.
So let's see.
Saying
Spirit Away was 2001. Howl's Moving Castle was 2004. Yeah, like really around that era, like when Spirit Away and Howl's Moving Castle came out, like that's when it really pushed.
yeah, that's when people started waking up to the fact that this stuff existed.
And around the same time, obviously, we saw a lot more running in with like the PlayStation 2 era.
Yeah. Looks like Miami list has a more complete picture of what anime looked like. I'm going to look for like 2000 on soon, but they had a lot of continuing series back in 1982.
Yeah.
Urusei Yatsura, Dr. Slump, Taiyo no, I never heard this one, Taiyo no Ko Esteban,
Like
Takahiro, Dash Company.
I really owe the influx of Japanese content to three things, and that's Studio Ghibli, and that's the PlayStation 2, because that's when all the JRPGs were rushing out on. And then realistically, I guess it's really like whatever was your equivalent to what either like Teletoon was here in Canada, where we had Toonami, or what Cartoon Network did with Adult Swim, where they started putting like
Cartoon Network had Toonami here.
Yeah.
So I looked up
well, like that's when you would see like your Dragon Ball Z's, your Gundam Seeds, your Gundam Wings, I guess for that matter too. Yeah. There'd be what else? Inuyasha was on all the time. Like there were so many shows like that would be on.
For fall 2000s, they got a more complete list of what was it in 2000. Hajime no Ippo, Gravitation, Inuyasha.
Yeah.
Gakko no Kaidan Bandred, Yami no Matsui, Argento Soma, Signed by Harry.
So I'm looking at Toonami here. So 2000s when we started seeing it. Yeah, Gundam Wing came out at that point. Submarine number 6, which I think people really need to look at. That 6-episode thing is really good. Or is it 4? One or the other.
The Big O. I wish there was
Big O. Outlaw Star, Car Captors. Yeah, Dragon Ball showed up in 2001.
Oh, that reminds me, like, remember when they're doing a High Guardian Spies promotion bullshit? They said, trying to say that you just don't like it because women are doing, like, you bitches realize that people love Clamp.
I was gonna say, dude, like some of us when we grew up were like dying for Card Captors and Sailor Moon, for example.
And that's created by Clamp, an all-female team from Japan.
But yeah, 2003 I think is when shit really started, because that's when Evangelion came out, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, hell, even Dot Hack Sign.
Here's the thing that pisses me off about Big O. They wanted to do a 3rd season, and the guy that ran like the Adult Swim comedy bullshit, he threw a fit because they wanted more funding. They were going to fund Big O season 3. Like, here's the thing, Larry Laszlo. Big O is good. You wanted to fund Tim and fucking Eric. Those faggots are the most unfunny people. That Tim Heidecker guy got Sam Hyde fired because Sam Hyde was actually funny. That's what really scared him, is like Sam Hyde could actually tell a joke, not tell some hipster joke that no one laughs at. Because you know how hipsters are. They're like, you don't have to laugh at the joke to know it's funny.
Yeah.
That's why people hate fucking hipsters.
But yeah, by the time we hit like 2005 here, it looks like everything, that's when stuff like just suddenly changed to going mainstream. Like obviously stuff started getting over. So that's when One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Naruto basically ran like, I'm looking at the list here, basically from like 2005 to like 2012. It was just basically those 4 shows and a bunch of random like little things here and there.
Here's the thing about like the big three of that era. People try to say that that's what got people into anime. Like, there's always gonna be like some anime that gets people like a new group of people into anime, but it's not the only one's responsible because Dragon Ball got a lot of my generation of anime.
Yeah.
You can't say that Naruto's the one that got people into anime. Naruto's not going to stand to the test of time because people realize all the plot holes. Because Dragon Ball, it was a product of its time, but it wasn't as full of plot holes because it was the one that set all the trends. Like Goku loses in a tournament arc because Master Roshi wanted him to have drive and determination to get better. When all the other people came along later that did a tournament arc, they just like, he must lose because that's what we do here.
There we go. That's what I want. Adult Swim. Adult Swim is kind of the same way too. So they just had more. See, Adult Swim had the more badass stuff. I'm looking at because like I remember this. This is basically the era that I like really got into anime. Like all this time when like Fooly Cooley just randomly showed up. Inuyasha was there. What else? We had Trigun. I got so into Trigun. Witch Hunter Robin. I've gone back and watched Witch Hunter Robin, and it's fucking terrible, but I loved it because it was one of the first ones I saw.
I wonder if I have that on my list yet because I remember watching it.
Like I remember like I think it's just because again, like you're a teenager. Like Witch Hunter Robin just looked like badass and edgy and cool because it just had like that
The problem with Witch Hunter
gothic kind of look to it.
Witch Hunter Robin's problem is it just kind of ends.
It just doesn't really do like honestly going back and watching it, it doesn't do anything.
And here's the thing: it was an original work, and it just didn't wrap anything up. It's like the series just ends, and you don't know what happens. Like it just ends like that. That can't be how it ends.
It I don't know. I guess I must have like I'm starting to understand maybe why my anime viewing was so different because yeah, literally the same thing with Adult Swim is the same with Toonami. Like once we hit about 2005, 2006, it just stops. Like it's only just the mainstream, like the over the top mainstream stuff. Like it's just Naruto, Bleach.
Yeah, they start trying to find these hidden gems, and that's the reason why I don't trust Toonami anymore because
yeah, it doesn't go back to some more normal stuff until like 2012 when like it pops up Dead Man Wonderland and Black Lagoon and Gurren Lagann.
See, when I watch Psychopaths, I decide I can't trust Toonami anymore because I went like I think it was Kiss Anime at the time, and went like through the hair tag and found Grisaia and it's like this show affected me more emotionally than anything that Toonami ever showed me.
Yeah. I mean, just from looking at it, it really does seem like that those two sets of channels like really defined everything for me because the early 2000s is what like piqued my interest. Then I moved away from it and just did my own thing. And then once like 2012 happened, and that's when you're starting to see like the resurgence of it. Like now I'm where I am today, where by the time we hit like what 2015, I'm like fully in now.
Yeah, see, I'm going through what came along. Just looking through like 1982, it's like there's a lot of like they got that really weird version of Voltron with all the vehicle parts.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of stuff that I never heard of. Like, of course, there's Doraemon. Let's see. Oh, Kinnikuman. You might know. Well, this one's not like the ultimate muscle. That the one we saw back in like the '90s was like the spin-off or the sequel about King Muscle's son. Let's see. Space Cobra and uses the same font as that one movie that Sylvester Stallone was in. But say the thing about people like us is we like this stuff, but we're not like hipsters about it. Like, see, that's the thing that pisses me off about like people like Razor Fist. Everything he likes is like niche hipster garbage. He likes noir and he likes the pulp stuff. Like we get it, you're trying to be unique, but I liking stuff that no one else likes.
Well, it's not even necessarily that. Like I do go to my way to try to find stuff that most people don't know about, but it's not because I want to be like hip and cool because I know something you don't. It's because I'm so sick of the same shit, so I want to find something different.
Yeah, you want to find something that no one's talking about that you want to direct people towards. Oh, this is shocking. Captain Tsubasa originally came out like 1983.
Oh yeah, it's old as fuck. It's suddenly having a resurgence now.
Yeah, I didn't know it's that old. I knew it was old, but I didn't expect that old. See, all these people, they talk about like fake Grand Order. I'm just trying to turn them on to like Kingsray because that's been more fun for me. Because here's the thing about fake Grand Order. It's that kind of game where you have to whale to get anything good in it. That's what pisses me off about like mobile games. They want your money so bad that they're gonna fuck you over.
Well, I think it depends on what you're going for. Like I've gotten away with at least the couple of games I'm playing. Like the main ones that I play are Fire Emblem Heroes. I play the Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon one. I'm currently playing the new one that Nintendo and Games just put together, which is Dragalia Lost, which I haven't put a lot of time into just because it's not a game that I can like play on autopilot. It's one that's actually like intensive and you have to pay attention to, which is why it struggles. But
I,
it is, as long as if you can go in and assume that you're only going to get a select few things, like whenever there's a big gotcha pull in Memoria Freeze, I usually end up being like, is this the one where I'm going to spend all my currency on, or am I going to be waiting for the next one that I really want?
yeah, like the Halloween one when I got enough because usually through like events I could get enough to pull one or two times. Like for the anniversary, they gave us a lot of like the things, the iris or whatever it's called, and all I wanted was the Lefia, so she would back spell.
Yeah.
I spooked me every fucking time.
Eh.
That's depressing. You're like, I just want Lefia because she looks so cute. Why are you here, eyes? I didn't want you.
Well,
And
that's
you know it
that's what you
says.
get with gotcha.
I know it says you're gonna get one that you don't own yet. And when I rolled on the one, because I got to the roll where you're supposed to get one guaranteed new 4-star hero, I still got eyes. Are like, what the fuck?
Just trying to tell you that we know what you want.
I know. That's why with the Halloween event, I was rolled. I was like, I bet Bait is gonna spook me. He spooked me, but I also got Lefia. It's kind of funny. When I started the game, I hated her, but now I like her. Probably because I ship her with Belle right now. Because that's what's funny about the advance. Like she's always acted like she doesn't want Belle anywhere near her eyes, and then she gets jealous that some other girl's putting the moves on him. You can't have it both ways.
You have fun doing that ship. I'll just ship Ryu and Hephaestus with me, and I'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, Ryu is best girl.
I've seen
There's
a
no.
lot of I've seen a lot of people be like, "Dude, you like Hephaestus?" I'm like, "She's red hair, is like really fit built, and she has a fucking eye patch. Like that's literally everything I can possibly ask for."
She's a mommy girlfriend.
Like, have you ever watched oh fuck, what was it? Oni?
Uh, oh, you mean that student council president girl with the
Yeah,
eye patch?
yeah, like that's my thing.
Well, I think we've talked about how had a thing for Fujin in Final Fantasy VIII.
See, I probably would have had a thing for Fujin if this wasn't shitty PlayStation era graphics.
Yeah,
But then again, I think I kind of got like the closest thing to Fujin in Oboro in Yuna and the Hana Hot Spring. She has a similar kind of look to her.
yeah.
She's got the white hair and the eye patch, so I guess that's like the closest I'll get.
Well, Obra also says more than one word when she talks.
Like, fuck, I even just did a Google image search. Even the fan art doesn't look good of her. God damn it.
You know, times
No
have
one,
changed.
no one can do the girl justice.
No. And of course, it was a different era back in the early 2000s at best.
Yeah. Well, Square Enix got ahead of the Mike Tyson face tattoo, so
Oh, God. Zell and his face tattoo.
so edgy, face tattoo and spiky hair.
I know. Here's the thing about like Final Fantasy VIII that pisses me off. Like I used to. Here we go. Ben was telling his stories of the evil Fujoshi he used to be around on guy online. I had to put up with like a Fujoshi that shit cipher with Zell because two guys can't just hate each other. They must secretly want to fuck. No, guys are a little bit more honest than girls. We hate someone, we actually hate them.
Well, look. All this does is it gets the two characters I hate the most and get rid of them. I'm okay with that.
That's one of those things I really hate about Fujoshi. If a guy shows any form of emotion towards another guy, it can't be normal. It has to be, oh, they really want to fuck. Like, ugh, that's why we hate you.
It's like, no, it doesn't have to be.
Sometimes two guys just hate each other. That's something I wish Tonka would understand. Like, here's his. You don't follow this stuff out. I used because watch the Kumite now and then. Tonka thinks that Mr. Medicure and Sargon need to just fight each other because people hate each other that much for that long. They either want to fight or fuck. Here's the
And
thing about Sargon and Jim. Sargon is pissed off that Jim quit Gamergate because people started using Gamergate to make money, and he didn't want any part of that bullshit. Sargon is pissed off that Jim doesn't take anything seriously. Jim just wants a shit post. That's what makes Jim happy. He just wants a bit laugh at mock furries and other shit. And the way Jim's going after the furries right now, I think it's best for him to be anonymous because they don't know who he is. Because these furries are fucking lunatics. I don't know if you watched that last night, but we learned that this one group of furries, they mutilated a dog and violated it. That shit is so disgusting.
I think there's a far difference between appreciating the artwork and appreciating what it is, and there's another reason between that and trying to live it.
Yeah, that's what furries need to get this shit in order. They need to get rid of these fucks because they're disgusting. I was never more disgusted than ever. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? I've never been that disgusted at anything. This shit that they're doing is just horrible. They're fucking animals. God. It's like that's proof that there's no God.
No, it's not necessarily true. It's just proof he's not paying attention.
Yeah, it's like, God, it's so disgusting. And people are like, well, these don't really represent my community. Like the furries like say that, like, well, too bad, kind of does because they're part of your community. It's just like us weebs having to deal with those weird fucks that go in public with their body pillows. They're lewd body pillows at that.
Hey, 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 hey. You leave me and my lolly naked pillows alone. Fuck off.
Do
They're
you
mine.
go into public with them?
I would if I could. I would as a joke if I could, but no, it's a bad idea.
That's what I mean. It's just like, why would you do that? You're just setting a bad example for others like you. Because there's the good weebs like us that we like Japanese stuff, but we don't throw Japanese words in the middle of our sentences unless it's a word that only exists in Japanese. Like,
I don't know. I will often yell "kampai" instead of "cheers" these days.
well, that's acceptable. But when you go, hi, mochi mochi desu, like, that's kind of like pushing it a little bit too far.
Oh, absolutely. Like anytime my girlfriend calls, I always answer with mushy mush because it just immediately puts a smile on her face.
It's just, but weebs are a little bit more tame than the furries are because we have a sense of what is acceptable and what isn't for society.
Well,
We're not,
that's always debatable, but
but we don't. But that's another thing. You know how they always like to shame like geeks because we have like our different interests all over our rooms and shit like that. But somehow it's perfectly acceptable for an adult to have sports everything in their room and like bedding that's for like children on their bed.
yeah.
That's somehow normal. Like at least our interest is like all the different things we like. You just have stuff for one sports team. You look like a crazy person. Because for like a weeb or a geek, you have the D&D stuff here. You got Warhammer here. You got the video games here. Or the weebs, you got various figurines from different series. You got the Fate figurines, and then over here you got a wall scroll for some good anime, and then a bunch of all ages visual novels. And I'm gonna speaking of visual novels, I'm gonna break from like the tribe a little bit. Like some stuff like Princess of Evangel, I would rather have the all ages version because that art style does not really work good for like lewd stuff. Because of hyper cute stuff, I just don't want to see it lewd. It just
Yeah.
looks, it just feels wrong to see this hyper cute stuff all nude and doing lewd stuff. Like I feel wrong. It's not like that sexy art style like Magikoi has. Because oh my god, Grappler Baki was an older anime. Because right now they got Baki going on. I was like, I know I heard that series before. Because of looking at Winter 2001, I see Grappler Baki. I was like, I knew I heard of that series before. Let's see what else was. But it's just like it looks a little bit more mentally unstable for a guy to have his room with a bunch of sports crap. It just looks like they got a problem.
Well, I think when you get to a point of over the top, like excessive, I think it doesn't matter at that point, like
Yeah,
what it is you like, because there's a difference between um liking something and there's being obsessed with it.
yeah,
Like I have a section that like if I have everything unpacked in the box they're sitting in right now, I would have a section that would just be my anime stuff. It's not, but it's not like an entire room. It's not a whole part of the house. Like,
see, I might be a weeb, but I'm also like a geek at the same time, and I got my taste in Japanese music isn't the stuff that you hear as anime songs. It's actually full on bands
yeah,
like Aldius or Fuki and her various projects. A lot of people like Japanese music. They go with Lisa all the time, and that's what really annoys me when people talk about who should did the theme song for Index 3 is basically, oh, we should have Lisa do it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, she doesn't have to do every anime song.
why not?
That's what pisses me off. Like, there are other women in Japan besides Lisa. But you wouldn't know that because you don't listen to music from Japan. You just listen to the few people that do like opening themes.
I don't know.
Yeah, she's
I'm pretty happy anytime I see Claris or Myth and Roy doing stuff.
what about OXT from Overlord.
Yep.
Sadly, they replaced it for Overlord 3.
Yeah, but in all honesty, I think if I'd have to choose any of the three openings, I'm taking the new one right now because it's fucking badass and it's creepy as shit too.
I need to listen to it more, but I kind of like go Craig go because it's just. But here's one thing for One Punch Man season 2, they better just stick with the original theme song because I think that's the one that works just right for it.
I think that's another thing too. Is I sometimes don't like the fact that shows just change the theme for the sake of changing the theme. Sometimes you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, like One Punch Man, the hero, that one works just so good. You had a guitar riff and One Punch.
Like the same went for New Game. Like New Game second season, I'm like, you can't top that first one. If Blend S ever gets a second season and they change the theme, I will be very upset.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because it's too memeable now to ever decide to do anything different with it.
Sweet, service, sister, sadistic, surprise.
Service, Snoop Dogg.
That's what's funny about that thing, because you kind of pick up on something about Hidari from the opening, because when he gets to him, he says surprise, like, oh, I wonder what the surprise is.
Oh, I knew right away. I'm like, okay, so we got a trap. All right. And then
the trap with a really good booty.
And then it didn't go, and then he wasn't showing up. I'm like, this is bullshit. Why are you waiting this long?
I know.
I'm like, he's going to be the best part of the show, and I was right. He is the best part of that show.
That picture of him with the Virgin Killer sweater dress on is like, I am really confused right now.
Oh, I was not confused when I saw that picture.
Well, you're bi, so it's normal for you. But I look at it like, I'm very confused right now.
And I'm just sitting there being like, go on.
That's all I was going to say about that, because I think it's established that I have a bit of a trap interest. At least once a season, you gotta have a trap in anime now. And that's one of those things that annoys me. Like, Blair White tries to say that she's a trap. You're a transgender. Traps are not trans.
It's like, yeah, Blair's not a trap.
Traps are ambiguous. You can't tell if it's a boy or a girl.
Well, the other thing is too is traps are supposed to be defined as they're boys that are still 100% like they know they're a boy, but they dress up.
Yeah, they're cross dressers.
Yeah,
they don't identify as female. They just want to trick you.
Yeah,
that's the appeal of a trap. It's a way for you to kind of be gay without really being gay, because you can pretend it's a girl.
Yeah. Well, as the question asks, are traps gay? And the correct answer is yes. You are still gay. Stop it.
My approach on it is basically, it's only gay if you're on the receiving end, or if you get penetrated.
No, it's not.
Let me just go with that, because that works for me.
That's not how it works.
Let me enjoy myself with this.
No, just admit that you're curious and just deal with it.
Do I have to?
Yes.
I don't want to.
Well, it's either that or I start calling the Fujoshi and they're going to have to deal with you.
Oh. Fine.
I'm glad you would listen to reason. That's like the ultimate way to blackmail you. It's like, I know I have 3 Fujoshi on call that I can send your way right now.
Good thing
no one's watching. Shit, what do you want?
Good thing we don't have anyone watching right now, because I'm just going through Final Fantasy Unlimited. It's one of those ones that I heard about, but I never really watched.
Final Fantasy Unlimited?
Yeah, it's like a anime cult, but I never really watched it. It just didn't catch my interest.
Oh, you're still looking at old stuff. Okay, I was confused. Yeah. I'm like, what? Did I miss a Final Fantasy anime? What?
Yeah, it's like way back in the day, back when Final Fantasy was still good. Let's see.
I mean, it depends on what you're looking at. It's still good. It's just not in the
Jesus Christ!
It's not amazing.
Full Metal Panic started in winter 2002.
Yeah, don't you feel old now?
I just started watching that a while back. I need to finish it at some point. And so that's me why I'm watching that. Like, because this is the first one. because you can't just jump to the newer season. Like, it won't make any sense. You get to watch it in order.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of funny how you can really spot the Shonen Ai back in the day. You got the really hyper masculine looking man with square jaw lines and that look like they're clearly drawn by women.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh no Mirage. You're looking at it like, yeah, that was designed by women, like for Fujoshi, because you can tell.
And then there's the show that's on this season called Takaichi or something like that. And I don't know why this art style is a thing, but it's the kind of style where like the guy just the guy's like neck has like just nothing but lines across his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like they're trying to say that's the shadow. I'm like, that's not what a shadow looks like. Stop doing that.
Chillbits was in 2002, apparently.
Yeah, I feel old now.
See, here's the thing about Sword Art Online. People act like it's this groundbreaking thing. I liked it back when it's called Dot Hack Sign.
Yeah.
That was
And
original.
Dot Hack Sign had some real serious fucking issues in then too.
Yeah, and
Because if I remember correctly, they dealt with this with suicide, didn't they?
pretty much because
Because I think
Tsukasa was,
Subaru pretty much just wanted to not want to exist anymore.
yeah, because she was wheelchair bound. She was, and Tsukasa was wanted to stay in the game because she had like a abusive father, and as I remember in the end, he she chose to leave the game, and forgot what the one guy's name was, the barbarian guy. He agreed to take her in, give her a
Yeah,
good home, because it was about them not want to go back to their real life because they were horribly abused.
yeah. You know that show surprisingly did not pull any punches.
No. And that Silver Knight guy clearly had a thing for Subaru, but you could really pick up on the idea that Subaru was not into guys. But she didn't bring it up every 5 minutes or every time she spoke like a certain Borderlands character.
Oh, and she's not a true lesbian. That can't be true. She's not LGBT unless she's blatant.
By the way, I'm gay. By the way, I'm gay. By the way, I'm gay. That's what I hate about Western people. They're like, we get God the first 5 times you said it. Stop bringing it up. We don't care.
It's like it's not that important.
And that's kind of the thing that people don't understand. Like LGBT people and them don't, like SJWs don't get. It's not that people don't respect your choices, but normal people don't want to hear about it all the fucking time because normal people have other interests. We get it. You're an NPC.
Well, it's just the main thing. It's like, by the way, folks, I don't know if you know this, but none of us fucking matter.
And here's the thing, it just falls right into that NPC meme. Because these people just repeat the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Like Riley Dennis. Riley Dennis is basically an NPC.
Oh god.
Or actually, I should say Justin, because they're not trans, they're just doing it to bang lesbians.
I don't want to get started on that.
I know. There's a reason why Andy
Good lord.
Warski. Yeah, like I know you're not into all this e-drama shit, but Andy Warski was doing a stream this morning, and Tonka and Billy are angry at him before streaming while they were streaming. And Andy was doing talking about like Jeff Holiday. And that's a little bit more interesting than watching some boring shit that Tonka and Failure think is entertaining. But Andy, he got to the point where he was tired doing videos about Riley Dennis all the time because he just didn't. It was just going to be the same thing over and over and over. You get to the point where,
Yeah, so he proverbially buried her.
yeah, he took it.
And then PSA Sitch dug her up.
Because most people just don't. That's the thing. Like the skeptic community, they just wanted to do the same thing day in, day out. And most people are like, we don't care anymore.
Well, I think that's my thing now. It's just like you're not doing anything new. Like, just knock it off.
Well, That's the one thing they hate about internet blood sports is because these people they just wanted to do reply videos back and forth, like just talk about something more substantial. And that's kind of where Sargon got himself in a bit of a mess because he decided after Richard Spencer told him, "You're not as smart as you think you are," he'd go into politics and he just embarrassed himself on the public stage. And well, there's mostly because he says a lot of stupid stuff. I don't know if you ever heard the white niggers comment he made.
Oh, I saw that, and it's just after a while, it's like I can't be asked to care that much anymore. It's like, dude,
I never heard Babe Cruz Gluen. I never heard that one.
no.
That's a problem with stuff like Babe Cruz. Is basically that's like Fujo bait where they got the Dreamboat males and all these Fujoshi show up and say, well, they're secretly fucking each other. Like, why can't we just have something with a bunch of guys that are finding people and shit like that and just enjoy it? Why do you have to come in and say, start your gay shipping and all that?
I'm just at the point now where it's like, hey, can we at least be realistic with everything now?
Yeah.
Like, for fuck's sakes, like, if we have a show where everybody under the fucking sun is walking around in the least amount of clothing possible, at least have the guy not walk around in fucking, like, military grade cargo pants as his fucking swim shorts.
I just don't like the whole Speedo thing because I always saw Speedo's like a desperate plea for attention.
It depends on how everything is used, obviously. I mean, my biggest thing has always been, like, I hate the fact that they act like the only people that take showers in anime are women, where it's like you're basically making the claim that like every man in this show that I'm watching is probably smelling as bad as they possibly can.
I guess, well, that's what you're wanting to see anyway. So,
No, in all honesty, I had that thought long before I even considered, being bisexual. Like years ago, I remember watching Infinite Stratos long before I even had the thought process of guys being attractive. And I'm like, dude, like every woman under the sun is wearing literally the skimpiest thing possible. And here's Ichigo walking out in fucking board shorts that I wouldn't even wear. They're way too conservative. And I'm not the hottest guy in the world.
You said thought. Oh God. The whole Kavanaugh thing, I don't mean to derail it again with politics stuff, but
if you want me to say something about it, I'll fucking talk about it.
The whole Kavanaugh thing is just like, it showed why we hate feminists. Because they're like, believe all women. Women won't lie. Like, really?
My thing has just been what I've been saying consistently is that I'm no longer at the point anymore that I want to ever have an opinion on it until I see what the justice system pops up.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to go on a witch hunt for something that is not 100% proven true.
Well, and here's the thing about like the witch trials. The only reason they stopped was because someone accused the governor's wife of being a witch, and he's like, okay, things have gone a little bit out of hand.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it stopped. Like, they accused the wrong person's wife of being a witch. But up until then, it's perfectly okay to do it to everyone else.
I mean, when it really just comes down to it, it's just people are only interested if it affects them specifically.
And here's the thing. It's only like because they're afraid of losing power. They don't realize that people are getting really tired. Like, liberals in America have just focused so much on the fact that Susie has two mommies, and they don't want to acknowledge the fact that most people don't give a shit if Susie has two mommies.
It's like it's not important.
It's not that we hate that Susie has two mommies. It's just we're tired of hearing about it.
We hate that you're telling us that Susie has two mommies over and over.
Yeah, because we didn't care before. It's not that we hate that she has two mommies. We're glad she has people that love her.
Well, I mean, the reality is, are there people that are against it? Of course there are, but are we really taking those people seriously? I had a conversation with my girlfriend the other day as pertaining to why I have the issue with the way that we are in the media right now. The left, or at least what we perceive to be the left, because I consider myself a leftist and I don't feel like I'm belonging to it anymore. They control the vast majority of what we read and what we see. the right is not the majority in the media. It is the left, and by far it's the left. And then if you go into the games media, it's even worse. It's basically 99.9% left. So the idea that there isn't a second voice, and that because we're in such a divide that no one's willing to have the conversation, how can we possibly take any information with a grain of salt when it's coming from a place that we don't know has any level of not bias, because it's very clear that there is.
Yeah. See, I was watching Tucker earlier tonight, and he had like this feminist on to talk about how well it's an academic term that has been peer reviewed. Like, and he started laughing, like, because we all know what happened with like peer review, how they proved that it's a flawed system because they put like a portion of Mein Kampf with all the references to Jews replaced with feminist buzzwords. Academia is broken.
Well, it's just the fact that the average person is only hearing one side of the message.
Yeah, because they'd like to paint
That's
they like to paint conservatives as the bad guys, and thing is, most conservatives, we don't really care because
I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's that they think the right is bad so much as that they've become so entrenched in their message that the second that you divert the attention away from them, they don't want that. I don't even think it has to do with the people on the other side. I think it just has to do with the fact that they don't want any eyes directed anywhere except to them.
yeah, because see, it's sort of
Because
like
here's the way I look at it. Like, you take the Lacey Green situation, you take the Blair White situation. These are people that normally you would consider to be on the left. But because they did one thing that diverted attention away and said, hey, like these centrist guys, these skeptics, like they're not so bad. The second that anybody would turn their head away from the far left, all of a sudden, oh, you must be just as bad as the rest of them.
mm-hmm.
I think it's less about the people and more about they want the attention.
Yeah. See, I think the left needs conservatives to be the bad guy. Sort of like Scarface, if you ever saw that scene where he's at the restaurant before he gets killed, where he says, "You need people like me. You do." I should do the Cuban accent. You need people like me, so you can put your fucking finger and say, "That's the bad guy." They need people like us to exist, so they can say, "That's the fucking bad guy that won't let you get gay married." When most of us, like, my stance on gay marriage had to change because it kind of changed when, like, Kim Kardashian married that one basketball player and couldn't even make it last a month.
Well, and the thing too, like talking about the bad guy is, it's so funny that the left loves to point at the alt-right as the bad guy when the reality is the alt-right has zero pull in anything.
Yeah, they want
how do you worry about an enemy that can't do anything?
I know. I don't know if you watch Sticks' videos, but he did one like the other day where he's saying that Hillary lost her mind because she called Donald Trump a white nationalist. Like, I don't think the white nationalists would have him since they hate him because he let his daughter marry a Jew.
Yeah. Well, and
what's that Cantrell guy's name again? I can't remember his first name. But he hates Trump because Trump let his daughter get married to a Jew.
Well, it's like when you have a group that, if you mobilize them, they're in the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of threat is that in a country of a population of over 300 million? This isn't the 1970s. This isn't like the 1950s when the KKK actually had not only numbers, but had pull.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, the white nationalists have zero political pull.
And here's another thing, like with the Kavanaugh situation. Well, Hillary's ranting about the Electoral College again, and liberals are demanding that they get more senators in states like California. Like, they don't understand that they limited 2 senators for each state so they can limit the amount of power a state has.
Well, it's like the same people that I literally had somebody try to ask me, is like, explain to me why the Electoral College works. And I said, well, I can explain to you why it works is because everybody is trying to change it because one person lost.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, no one asked about the Electoral College when Obama got put into office.
No.
Nobody asked about the Electoral College any time until now. And probably most people didn't even know what the fuck the Electoral College was until this election.
The only reason they care is because they were cheating and they still lost. Because I think they were.
No, I go even one step further. They only care about because their character, their choice lost. That's it. Has nothing to do with anything else. They're just mad that their guy didn't win. That's it. It doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah, they like Google. There was like a video from Google where they're trying to mobilize Mexicans to like legal Mexicans to go vote for Hillary, and they forgot one thing about legal Mexicans. They fucking hate wetbacks. They hate them.
Well, the thing that's so insane to me is that they believe that the right is trying to get rid of immigrants. And the correct answer is no, they're trying to get rid of illegal immigrants, which are two completely different things.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't understand that. It's all like how what I said about Goblin Slayer being a metaphor for like unvetted immigration. It really is because at first you're like, oh, there's just a few of them, and next thing you know, you're being culturally enriched. You got Hernandez down the block who painted his house of color an Easter egg, and he's got a lowrider in the front yard. And he's living with 3 other families in his house. Like, that's kind of the thing, the reason people don't like the legal Mexicans, because they do these really, I don't want to say it, but spiky things. They're like those things that the people from, like, they'll immigrate here from Mexico that don't like to see because it makes them look bad. Because they try to blend in, act like everyone else. That's who I feel almost sorry for, because the legal ones, they want to try and get along with everyone, blend into this country they moved to.
Well, it's a simple thing. Like we've had this conversation before where I said, look, if I suddenly move to Japan tomorrow, am I gonna just not acclimatize to anything that goes on in Japan? No, that would be fucking insane of me to do.
Yeah, if I moved to Japan, I want to be waving an American flag going, America, fuck yeah.
And they probably, well, they'd be more mad at you just because you just interrupted the tranquility of what was going on there. You just decided to cause a ruckus. They're not even mad because you're waving the flag. They're just mad that you caused a scene.
Yeah, I really want to do that because I'm really a subdued person. I don't want to draw too much attention to myself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing with immigration. You can't just. I remember Lauren Southern saying that she was talking to some person that he had migrated to the UK from Pakistan because he wanted to live in England. Well, pretty soon, all these people from the Middle East came in. They basically turned into Pakistan, and he left to move to he moved to Canada because he didn't want to live in Pakistan. He wanted to live in London.
Well, that's the thing that people just keep saying. It's like, why would you go to another country as a refugee and want the same country that you just ran away from?
I know.
It makes no sense.
I know, and they're always bitching about how bad things are in their country, and they don't understand that. It's just like the fucking Californians. They know exactly why they had to leave their state, and they moved to like Colorado, where I live, and they keep voting for the same motherfucking shit, expecting shit to change. That's the definition of insanity. I always think about Boss from Far Cry 3. Insanity is doing the same thing every fucking time, expecting shit to change. Californians just don't get that their high taxes don't fix anything. And I get tired of people thinking, oh well, they did it in California. It seems like a good idea. Nigga, they just banned drinking straws. I won't be listening to them. They've proven that they're insane. That kind of stuff just gets under my skin. Like California has proven that and they listen to people like Dianne Feinstein and them like their worst gospel, when a lot of people know about her connections with Jim Jones, the guy who killed all his followers with Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Why would you trust someone that was connected to that fucker? I just don't understand what's wrong with people. Well, I understand why, because most of them are idiots that don't know anything. They just vote.
The thing that I've never understood is that when you complain about so much that goes on in the place that you live, and you only complain about the things that are wrong in the place that you live, when you know that in other parts of the world, it is not only worse, but it is exponentially worse to the point that you would be dead the next day if you just showed up there.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that whether it's through politics, whether it's through societal change, economic change, hell, we can even just go to the progress that we've made as a gaming industry in the last 10 years. No one is willing to admit, apparently, on the left that we've made progress, and they're not willing to make that caveat. It's either we're in the shits, it's the worst it's ever been, or they don't say a thing. I used to get mad all the time watching, say, for example, Anita Sarkeesian, because every time that something good happened, she would say, well, they're doing this, but that's not enough. That's not what we need yet. It's like, how about you just fucking admit that, hey, this thing is good. Can we please do more of this?
Well,
But instead,
the bitch likes to complain about how females are animating games because she doesn't understand that women walk differently because their bone structure is different.
it's not
But,
even. It's just not even beyond that. It's literally just tit for tat. She just doesn't care unless like she's more interested in crying and playing the victim than she is about progress, and that's what a lot of these people are.
well,
They're not interested in evolution of us as a society. They're just interested in constantly bitching about things and having somebody fix the problem for them so they can just sit there in their chair
well,
and watch.
I seem to recall that she had one night on Twitter, she had said one thing and then she said something else that completely contradicted herself like 5 minutes before.
People contradicting themselves, that never happens.
But she did this like it wasn't 5 minutes. Like she doesn't understand what she's saying half the time. Well, I understand why because SJWs like to use a lot of these buzzwords that. So like Obama, he liked to use a lot of big words, and by the time he got done talking, you most people didn't realize he just said a bunch of nothing. He just liked to say these big words because it makes him sound smart. Like it's like Dr. Ford, how she kept using words like hippocampus and all that shit, and they impounded a video pointing out that this woman said a bunch of stuff that meant nothing because Aim Powder is that autistic that she'll point out why she said it's a bunch of bullshit because Aim Powder's got the numbers.
Is it not obvious that if you're playing to a country that is large in part the middle class, that you don't need to be using words that the fucking rich bourgeoisie would actually use?
Yeah, that's another thing they don't understand. Like Trump won because he uses simple English.
He won because he spoke to the people that actually, have never been spoken to before.
Hmm. And
Because
another thing is Hillary is just so unlikable. Should I'm trying to think of like an anime character that would represent her, like that one character everyone hates and wants to see dead. That's kind of what Hillary is because she's just like pure concentrated evil. She scared the shit out of me. I was afraid she was going to win because thing is, a lot of people talk like we should have a no-fly zone over Syria, and they don't understand that to do that we'd have to declare war on Russia. She was okay with doing that. I'm not because I know Russia can hit us.
Yep. Well, I mean, the reality is she probably should have won. In all honesty, like she should have won. But what happened is that the media decided to play their role as, immediately crowning her king. When the reality is what they did is just piss the people off further that didn't like her, and then also make the people that thought she would win easily not get up off their lazy ass and vote.
And they still
Because of
haven't
this,
learned. They still haven't learned anything else. Here's something that just fucking pisses me off about the media. They ran for a whole fucking week with that Julie Swetnick story. When when Tim Pool, Sticks Hexenhammer, and Hard Bastard all could prove within like an hour that this woman is a fucking lunatic and a liar. They found like the reports. They found everything. A lot of people on the internet found it within an hour. These people, like NBC and them, they have millions of dollars at their disposal, and they couldn't. They didn't want to correct themselves because they had to go with the narrative. Instead of trying to tell the story you want, try telling the truth.
that's too hard.
I know it's too hard because that means being honest. That
No,
means
that's
admitting the fact that
I would even go beyond that. It's not even because it's honest. It's just because it actually would require them to do more work. It's easier to write a headline than it is to actually go and research a story.
I know, but also it would also mean admitting the one fact: liberals and leftism isn't really helping the country. because they want to keep marginalizing like the gays and the blacks and whatnot, like keeping them separated so they can appeal to each one individually. They don't want to treat them like individuals.
Well, that's the
As
crazy
people.
thing too. It's like, how could you ever understand that we were always taught that we are all different, we all have
Mhm.
something unique about us, and now today we're being told no, because you're a certain color, because you're a certain gender, you must believe this, 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 and this.
I know that's the thing that's
That's
getting Kanye,
asinine.
and that's the thing that's pissing the left off about Kanye is because he's telling people just because you're black you don't have to be a Democrat, and then Chris Evans is telling him he doesn't know history and Ken is elaborates what Chris Evans really means. He's just saying shove you stupid inward. That's pissing them off the most is Kanye is telling the truth.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when you see people like Kanye, like Candace Black, when they're suddenly saying, "Hey, like
Candace Owens.
you," sorry, Candace Owens. I keep thinking because
Red Pill Black.
yeah, that's why. But like all they're doing is saying, "Hey, you don't have to necessarily be a Democrat just because you're black." And all of a sudden, everybody else goes into a tizzy because they're like, "Oh shit, they're trying to take away our voters."
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the thing that, like, part of Colorado I live in, they're always redistricting it to try and get liberal into power, and it's never going to work because people in rural areas they're never going to go liberal because liberals they want to force all these harsh eco eco standards that farmers can't live up to because they have a finite budget that they have to work with. They can't just buy new equipment to suit them.
I mean, the reality is too the stuff that they're looking for. Like, if you want to go all organic, sure, but you explained how much of the population is never going to eat because you can't sustain that. Of course, I would love to go environmental, but then shit would be so much more expensive. I'd love to go organic, but shit would be more expensive. Like, if you can figure out a way to make it sustainable and cheap, sure, I think people could go that route. But to be environmentally friendly is right now is costing way too much goddamn money for people.
And here's the thing:
Not everybody is living in some really nice loft out in New York that's making more than $100,000 a year.
see, here's another thing. Like they always call parts of the country, like where I live, un, unused or empty land. Like it's not empty. Where the fuck do you think your vegan salad came from?
Yep.
You don't. You can't grow like California. You don't even have fucking water. You're getting all your water from my state.
It's
What my state just says? No, you don't get any more of our water. You're a fucking desert. Deal with it.
it's ironic too because these are the same people that are always pushing the save the tree stuff. It's like, where do you think you have to plant the trees?
Mm-hmm. It's not unused land because a lot of those, a lot of
Right on top of
unused
their apartment.
or empty land, they don't understand that those people that own that land, they pay more taxes than these people will ever pay in their lifetime because they have to pay property taxes and all that. I don't, and a lot of those people that own a lot of land, they earn a lot of money per year doing farm work and shit like that. My uncle's a farrier. He makes $100,000 a year. He pays more than some fucking barista in LA will in taxes, and that's the shit that pisses me off to no end. These entitled hipster motherfuckers don't know shit about people that live in the middle of the country because they'll never interact with us. They don't know what we go through.
Well, yeah, and it's even if you'd offer the olive branch, they would never take it because why would they ever want to hear it?
And here's another thing: they talk like they're going to win a civil war because they live in the cities. We would just cut off all the roads so they can't get any supplies. And if they come out to where we live, we'll probably be gunning them down because we got all the guns.
That is the key part, isn't it? That they think that they'll win by just elasting. It's like, where do you think all the food comes from?
They're just so fucking stupid. And they talk like they'd be able to win against us. I've been to family reunions, and they'll just bring out the guns and shoot at stuff because that's fun.
Like the best part is like when it comes to, say, for example, a zombie apocalypse. Where would you rather be? In the city of 100,000 or in a rural village of 150?
Not in the village because chances are that infection will be kept under control.
Well, for two things, obviously. One, you're going to have easier access to food and water. And two, if there's an outbreak where you are, it's one person and it's going to take them a hell of a long time to probably get to where your farm is. So there's a pretty good chance you ain't going to see anything. But if you're living in an apartment complex where about 500 to 1,000 people live, and there's a city of 100,000 where an outbreak's coming in, you might last 2 days if you're lucky.
Well, I remember watching something about like a epidemic or like a virus or something like that, and they said that rural areas they'll be able to survive longer because they know who their neighbors are. They know they'll protect themselves a little bit more. But people in the city, they don't trust each other. Like,
what's the thing?
they,
Like 30
they
years ago, we actually talked to our neighbors across the street. Now no one talks to shit.
well, here's another thing. Like New York, because I used to watch Fox News. Dan Perino was on Fox News. She's from Colorado originally, and she said that she hates New York because everyone there is so fucking rude.
Which is not
That
surprising at all.
and that's because I remember watching some fucking comedian. I can't remember his name. That's because he just pissed me off. He said, "All we need is the coast. We don't need the middle." Like, where the fuck do you think you get your food from, you stupid wop? That's what pisses me off. They don't understand where the food comes from, and it's not like an easy matter because I've helped my grandpa when he's alive with like farming. He grew alfalfa to feed his cattle, and that's a lot of hard work. You're carrying irrigation tubes. You're maintaining your ditches. You're doing a lot of shit. It's hard work, harder than any of these people ever have to do because they wouldn't be able to survive doing it. Their little baggy deep vegan diet would have them passing out within an hour. This is just shit that just gets under my skin a little bit because they talk like people like me don't matter. Like I haven't been able to get a job since I was like 18 when I worked at Carl's Jr. for almost a month because where I live we don't get any opportunities. They wanted an Amazon facility to be built in Colorado. But they wanted it to be built in like in the front ranges, like near Boulder. And what soured Amazon is because of the cost of real estate and shit was so high that they couldn't bring people to work there. And that's what these people don't understand. That some people need to have work, and they always complain that places that they should be building it, they don't have enough nightlife and other shit like that. You can worry about that shit later. If you build a good employment place, eventually that community will grow and some of these places will show up.
I mean, the reality is, and I'm going to take off after I finish saying this because it's getting late for me. But when it comes to economical issues, when it comes to political issues, when it comes to societal issues, not one person that really has the platform right now knows anything of what they're talking about. When it comes to our YouTube platforms, Twitter, or whatever the fuck, the people that really have the voice, unfortunately, are the ones that literally don't know anything. And not only that, but they're usually the ones that aren't even interested in learning either.
Well, now you mentioned like people don't really get YouTube, like that Becca Lewis bitch who did that map of like, I don't remember what she called it, but she actually buys into the whole Adam Worski bitch. She doesn't really understand that it's a character. Because Andy's like friends with a half Chinese, half black guy. That's his best friend. Yeah. Adam Worski is a character he plays that was created when they were trolling Hasbro over quartering being banned. Mm-hmm. They basically in an hour turned Andy Worski into Adam Worski, axe-wielding maniac, Hitler on steroids. As a joke. That's the thing that's really sad. These people don't get that a lot of this is just a joke. And I think that's where we're going to end it tonight.
It's just that we're at a point that no one's listening and no one's trying to figure out, like, understand anybody else's ideas. It's literally just, I want my thoughts through, and they're the ones that matter. Reality is the only way that we are ever going to get past what we're at right now is we're going to have to take some ideas from the other side. I don't like a lot of the ideas that come from the extreme left, but there's one or two in there that we need to take from, because Lord knows we need to find a compromise, some common ground. And if we can't do that, we're fucked.
Yeah, it's just there's what they need to understand is it can't all be one way because Detroit exists. They've had nothing but liberal mayors for 50 years. It was a good city once. Now it's like a third world hellhole. Always made jokes like in the Fallout universe that the Chinese did bomb Detroit because they thought they already hit it because they saw it was in shambles.
I mean, the reality is we have to understand that some things work in California, some things work in Iowa. Like, it's not going to be the same. It never will be the same unless you can figure out a way to make the entire country, the United States of America, the exact same, which, by the way, good luck with that because that's a massive political, societal, and economical shift that you're suddenly just going to have to create on your own. And
it's not like it hasn't been tried before. The Germans were on a nice track and the Allies stopped them.
were they on a nice track, or were they just killing anybody that didn't think that was a good idea?
Well, actually, from what I understand, because I've been listening to some people that, well, a lot of people that were killed during the so-called Holocaust were like in places that the communists took over after, because before then they were just like slave labor. And then when the Soviets came in, conquered territory that the Germans had, that's when people started dying. You know, Stalin, he liked starving people.
No.
Not sweet Stalin. He was a good boy who didn't do nothing. He was going to change the world. We could go.
I was going to say,
go
ending with death is a great way to go.
That's before we shut down. I'm just going to say
we started with death and Goblin Slayer. And we're ending with death with Stalin. Perfect.
Yeah. I remember when Saga was in L.A. for something, and he said, "Who cares what you think? You're a fucking communist." And this guy said, "Well, you know, after when Stalin was in power, the Russian population rose by I don't know what percentage, but like, well, you can only go up after you start a bunch of people to death. You have to replace the population."
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to have a population increase after you kill off a bunch of people, and maybe disappear people that Stalin didn't like because they called him the mustached one. We could probably go on for hours, but I think it's time to shut it down. One of these days I'll have a soundboard so I can do the echo.
That's a work in progress.
Yeah, I don't have the money for that yet. But for the Tsunderdome, good night and Urusai.